We are live. How's it going? I'm here with Jared Taylor. Second, let me just remove this. I'm here with Jared Taylor Swift. How's it going?
Oh, it's going awesome, man. Thanks so much for having me. The Toasted Network Alpha Male.
Yeah. It's actually funny how we met. Um, I'm sure you remember this. For some reason, why did the Groypers say you were Jewish again? Like, I'm confused about the whole thing. Like,
Hey,
what was
look,
that all
man.
about?
They were calling me Jewish every other day for a while there, so it's tough to kind of pick out whatever time you're talking about. But you know
I don't
what?
know. Yeah, I think that it was the first DM. Um, I asked, "Are you Jewish?" And DM me back saying like they call everybody Jewish, something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Or
I'd have to go back and look, man. I feel like it's been a while, but I mean that sounds about right. But I think luckily we may be coming out of that phase of Groyperism, given
yeah,
the event of the last week. I'm hoping.
yeah. I was I don't know what's up with Nick now. He's like now against the whole thing, saying that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. It was kind of weird. You saw the whole his what's happening
Yeah,
with him now.
Yeah, I was really curious how he was going to play this, and I've actually been pleasantly surprised. I think that this event, and then seeing how much of his own audience, and then how much of the larger internet have been pinning the assassination on Israel, has really shocked him and shown him kind of what we were trying to tell him for so long, which is that there's a huge portion of these people that are just totally retarded, and they're going to blame anything and everything on Israel to the point that it muddies the waters and makes our entire argument look stupid when Israel is actually doing something, or we're trying to talk about, Zionist control of our institutions or Jewish control of our institutions. So I think it's really important to call this stuff out when it's made up, and that we're not, having these people, giving these people any power or any clout.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, this is my problem with Nick. He changes his opinion every single day. He's not a very consistent person. Yeah, I mean,
Totally agree, but I try to give people grace as long as they're changing it in the good direction. For a long time here, he's been changing them in the bad direction, and so I've been very critical of him. I mean, he's blocked me on Twitter, and many of his like people have blocked me just from being critical and publicly disagreeing with him for so long. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to decry someone for changing their opinions in the right direction.
it's not just like he always. I mean, I don't know. Like his whole thing, he started off was being the aptical right winger, like aptical dissident writer. Like he was something like a more radical version of like John Dale, but like more radical. Now he's how do I put this? Now he went after the whole Kanye thing. He went full neo-Nazi. Now he's going back to yeah. I mean, like this is the thing. It's hard for me to even want to even be whatever with him when you know that like he defended a pedophile and stuff like that. It's like it's a little
I
bit.
totally I don't care. We shouldn't care about any of these people or look up to them or like feel attached to them. I just want people that are doing good in terms of, are they pushing narratives that are going to benefit Americans? Are they pushing for policies that are going to benefit my life and the life of my countrymen? And if they're doing that, then I'm going to try to signal boost them. And Nick is unique because I think he is a really incredible talent. I was one of his first 1,000 followers on Twitter. Like, I was very early. I could see that he was going to be huge, and I was just hopeful that he would go about it in the right way. And I think for the first long time of his career, he was doing pretty well. And then when he got mixed up with Kanye, and basically Heiled Hitler on stage at his AFPAC, it just completely went off the rails. It's like he was deliberately sabotaging everything that he had the chance to do. But if this, horrific event of the past week can get him to at least see the cancer that's been invited on his team and kind of help him be more effective, I'm all for having more effective messengers for our side. And I don't care if they've done stupid things in the past, as long as they're being effective now.
I mean, are you like? Do you believe like all the Israeli like? Do you believe they killed JFK or not really? Like, what's your view on all those? I think there's like many conspiracies about them. The USSR, Liberty.
Yeah,
JFK.
sure. I mean, I think Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK for sure. I think it was a single shooter, but I think that he may have. I mean, he obviously had some CIA interactions beforehand, and it's unclear to me. I haven't seen like a smoking gun evidence that they groomed him and put him up to it. But I think
Right,
if you look at the motive, it's obviously there for Israel to do that, and I think it's likely that they had some involvement with it. But at this point, I don't think it's very useful to dwell on these like very
right,
old. Like obviously, they're doing stuff now. They've done in this century, in the 21st century, they were completely directing U.S. foreign policy for the disastrous wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They had
yeah,
literal agents in our government that were telling us what to do and controlling things that people were arrested for for spying in the Bush administration. So I think it's more important to focus on things that are tangibly hurting us now than think about
right.
assassinations from 60 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think they like are basically losing their power. I don't know like how powerful AI pack is anymore. I think it's like they're slowly. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see them having that much power based on
Well,
what's
APEC definitely still has a lot of institutional power. I
right,
mean, they're funding these
right,
politicians millions and millions of dollars. Like they
right,
for sure have a lot of institutional power, but they've lost the consent of the people completely. Like people are onto it, and people like we've just seen with this, like they just are going to blame Israel for anything now. Like they've fostered a lot of hatred because of their tricks over many decades now, and so that hatred is going to manifest in the form of politicians being elected that are openly hostile to Israel, and that's going to happen soon. You can already see it happening a little bit on the left. It hasn't happened anywhere on the right yet,
I
but
mean,
in our
Mark
in our
Taylor
lifetime, when
Greene and
yeah,
Thomas
but even
Massey.
yeah, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. Like they're definitely at least skeptical, but I think you're going to have like outright hostile people to Israel that are going to be elected. Probably in the next when the boomers die off in 20 to 25 years. On
Yeah,
the right,
maybe.
on the right, on the left, you already have it to some extent, but you're going to see it on both sides.
I mean, the thing that's going to be funny, I mean, not funny, was going to see is which is going to happen first. The left becoming openly anti Semitic, I mean, not actually anti Semitic, or the right becoming hating Israel. Because the left is sort of as anti Semitic without being anti Semitic, if that makes sense. I mean, like, once you go so anti Israel, you're basically kind of without there's a reason why most right wingers, if they're anti-Israel, they hate Jews. It's because it's pretty much, what I mean. It's you get what I mean, or
I
am
see
I?
what you're getting at, but to me, anti-Semitic is just like a made-up term. It's a very there's no real definition to it, and that's really by design because it's just a smear they can call you if you're saying something they don't like. So you would have to first tell me, like, what does anti-Semitic mean to you?
I mean, I don't know what racism even is. It's like I'm being honest. Like I don't know. I mean, the popular answer would be like I know people like to say, "Oh, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not racist. I'm just saying the truth," which I feel like is a stupid thing. It's like you don't think KKK members don't think they're telling the truth. It's like something could be anti-Semitic and racist and be the truth. Like you could say race and IQ is racist, okay, but it could be the truth. You know what I mean? It's not like so I don't know. I mean, like, there's some like Jake Shields and Stu Peters, like they're obviously anti-Semitic, but those people are anti-Semitic. But it's hard to say what is anti-Semitic because I don't really know myself. It's like it is kind of a made-up word. I
But I
mean,
think that's why it's used is because they can like certain people. If you look at like the International Holocaust Remembrance Association, they have a definition of anti-Semitism that basically says like if you criticize Israel or if you say something critical, that's anti-Semitic.
yeah,
So obviously I can't operate on that kind of definition. But I would say like racism is if you have racial animus against another group, and I try
right,
not to have animus towards any groups or really any people if I can help it, unless they're just plain evil. And so, if you could say anti-Semitic would be like animus against the Jewish race, I don't feel that I have that. Like I have specific complaints for things that are going on that are like going on in reality that I'm going to critique and have negative things to say about that. But that I don't have any hatred or animus towards them.
right. I mean, I don't like. That's the thing with the whole Israel thing is how like the thing I don't get is like I feel like it's sort of like even on the inside it's sort of breaking up. Like you're seeing, like the AP and many other newspapers starting to like I mean, not openly anti-Israel stuff, but they're like a pushing like the genocide happening in Gaza, like saying there was like 60,000, 100,000 people, or even like smaller cases like remember that bombing, the bombing that happened with Israel and Palestine a long time ago, the hospital bombing that ended up being a hoax. You know what I'm talking about? Or
Yeah, I do. I mean, that was a host, but since then they've bombed many hospitals. They've bombed a
right,
lot of
right,
things. They've bombed all
right,
over. But I do remember that one. And yeah, it's true. Like in the fog of war, like the Palestinians know that the PR campaign is a big part of like getting sympathy helps them. So they're constantly trying to say, "Oh, look, we're being oppressed even worse than it is."
right,
And then Israel's constantly saying, "No, we're not. We haven't even killed anybody. We're super nice to them."
right,
And both of these people both of these groups lie constantly.
right. No,
So
I
we
mean
have to
like
sift through it.
no, but like what's it called? I'm seeing like even with Hollywood, I'm seeing like sort of like the Jewish leaders. They're sort of like losing power over the people that are working for them, like college campuses, people in the news media. They're starting to like break, not being able. They sort of like created a Frankenstein monster that sort of is now turning against them now. Like the
Yeah, I
media
think
is
there's
not.
there's definitely something to that because there's like these like nominally left wing Jews that are also extremely Zionist. People like Amy Schumer or like even like Bill Kristol and like some of the old neocons. And then as they see people on the left like going hardcore, because I mean people just don't like seeing pictures of kids getting blown up. People don't like seeing pictures of like the horrible stuff going on over there. So they're especially those on the left that tend to be like really high empathy people. They see this and they're like, oh, a people is being oppressed. A group is being oppressed over there. They're being blown to bits, and they're going to be very anti-Israel and be very angry. And so now these people that maybe used to sit on the slight left side of the spectrum are realizing that's not the future. So then they'll try to appeal to like, center right people. And that's
Well,
what
I
you
mean,
see.
Amy Schumer and like what's her name again? The other lady that has a squeaky voice.
Oh
That's
man,
like
you
no, the
got to
one
narrow it
Sarah
down.
Silverman. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm seeing them starting to turn on Israel. They're for sure not pro Netanyahu. They sort of like I see this with many Jews in America. They're using Netanyahu as a scapegoat to what's happening. So I mean,
Sure.
like,
They know that what Israel's doing is harming their reputation. So now
right,
they're like, wait a second, this has to stop. Like, we got to get someone other than Netanyahu. Because to them, it's like a PR disaster. Like, now everyone's talking
right.
about Jewish people, everyone's talking about Israel, and they don't want to be the center of attention like that.
Yeah,
They,
I mean, I think it's like a little bit overblown. Like we have like people like to say like Israel's the one thing you can't talk about, but it's not like the Holocaust. Like if Hassan Piker would be speaking about the Holocaust, we'd be banned in a second. Israel, I think, it's not as big as people make it out to be, in my opinion. But
well, not now, but I mean, dude, I'm telling you, like, I've been banned from Twitter for making very,
yeah.
low, like, very,
I mean, I've been
uh,
banned from Twitter like 5 times until I finally got my account. So yeah,
sure. There you go. But for saying just normal things like nothing extreme about Israel, just like very light critique, and I've been banned for that. Like
yeah,
now, since October 7th, and since this war, it's become the topic of conversation all over the place. Like it's a completely unprecedented
yeah.
development as far as like the Israel discussion in this country.
I mean, yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, and I'm just being. This is what annoys me is like, I'm Palestine is just as bad as Israel in this situation, and they sort of like people hate on Israel, and maybe it's right. They shouldn't be bombing people and stuff. I don't know exactly. You could, but the thing is about the thing that annoys me is like Palestine is not innocent here either. I mean, first of all, they start an attack on a nation that is known to be would retaliate very badly. They they put their bases in hospitals and stuff like that, knowing fully well that Israel is not going to take anything back. So it's like people are like burning Israeli flags and like hating Israel, but these same people, like let's say Ryan Dawson and people like that, are waving Palestinian flags, even though Palestine has did do very bad things, like putting they make it that Israel sort of kills, and if Israel doing the right thing by shooting those or bombing those places, and are all the places they're bombing human shields? I don't know, probably not, but still, it's like there's a big reason why the casualty is very high. It's you agree with me here, or you think I'm just?
Well, you said they, like the Palestinians, you're like they are responsible, like or they
I mean,
they're not blameless.
they're obviously responsible. I mean,
But
like,
who is they? Like, I mean, you have like if you think about the Gaza Strip, it's about 25 miles long and it's 4 to 7 miles wide, depending on where you're at. So it's a very little place, and there's tons of people that live there, and it's run by Hamas. And Hamas launched, horrible attack on Israel. I get it, but we got attacked. Like countries get attacked, and then you fight against the group. But you want to take care not to just like wantonly kill people when
well,
you
as you
can.
said, it's not really a big place, so it's.
Exactly, but that's also by design. Like Israel has these people locked in here. They have the border controlled. They don't let them leave. They don't let people go in. It's a locked down
I mean, like,
area.
well, to be fair, like what the Pakistan do during the War of India, they like murdered the people. They like.
Look, it's all bad. And yeah, I don't. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's not good what they're doing. I understand people are outraged. I'm not the kind of guy that gets outraged about things happening on the other side of the planet, typically. But in this case, our country, America, underwrites everything Israel does. We fund a lot of it. Our politicians are paid off by their lobbying firms, and we bankroll it, and we send our own troops and military assets over to guarantee everything that they do. And so at this point, the Israel issue is blowing back on our country, and that I have a problem with.
Right. I mean, like, well, like what Israel should have done. I mean, like after the war, what's it called again? You remember the whole '67 war, stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about, or
Yeah,
no?
of course.
Yeah, it might have been better if Israel just directly kicked them out because that's what happens with most non-Western wars. They usually kick the other side out. They don't like them sort of like making them like a third thing. It's sort of like what caused the whole thing, in my opinion. But
Sure. I mean, they did a half measure because they want to live. They want to like be brutal like these Eastern people groups, but they also want to fit in with the West. And so they were like, well, we'll just do a half measure where we will remove them and put them on this tiny piece of land, but we won't fully remove them. And obviously, that's not going to work long term. So they're going to have to figure something out. But at the end of the day, it's not my problem.
right, no, for sure, for sure. I mean, we also fund Palestine to be fair as well. I mean, do we? I mean, well, we
Not it's
supply.
not comparable. I mean, we give them like some humanitarian
I
aid, but
mean,
we're
like
not
during
giving them.
Biden's time, didn't we like give them like billions of dollars? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know about billions ever going to
1 second.
Palestine.
Aid to Palestine during Biden's administration. I mean, this is going to. Let me just go on ChatGPT. That might actually be uh, more, yeah, aid to
Do
Palestine.
viewers
Yeah,
get to see this video? They get to see you typing on ChatGPT.
yeah.
Okay,
It's
sweet.
okay.
No,
Yeah,
it's good. I like it. That way they can see it.
yeah. 100 trucks. Blah blah blah. Okay. How much has how much has Biden gave them? Okay. Okay, 2.1 billion. Okay. Okay. It's not
But
giving me.
importantly, this is all like food, and like we're actually like paying to clean up Israel's mess. So Israel's blowing them to smithereens, killing them, destroying their infrastructure, destroying their hospitals, destroying. They don't have any food, and then we're paying to feed and clothe and house the people that they're fucking up, while we're also paying for the bombs for Israel to drop on them. So really, this to me is just like more money we're giving to Israel because we're paying for the destruction that they're causing.
Right. 1 second. Aid to Palestine. I mean, would you be honest here? If America was in this position, what would you say with this whole thing? If I'm,
If America was in the position of Israel,
yes.
I would say clear them out. I would say let's get them out of here.
Right. So, can you blame Israel for what they're doing? I mean, like, if Mexico, I know people say Mexico's doing it, but they don't. They have never done it in a single day. If they would do like a October 7th style
What
attack,
I wouldn't hold on a second. What I wouldn't do is just like rain hell on them for 2 straight years on the civilians and everything. I would actually like just try to do a ground operation,
right?
get rid of the military, and then clear the people out. Say you have to leave and
Right.
physically remove them, put them
I
somewhere
think
else.
that's what Israel wanted to do originally, but Biden did not want them to go inside Rafah. You know what I'm talking
Sure, but
about?
that
Or
was like the last phase. But they're just basically Israel like likes to snipe and shoot bombs and do some spying stuff, but they don't really like just like fighting a war like on the ground like soldier to soldier. And that's what you're going to have to do. You have to go on the ground. And they're doing it now, apparently. I haven't been following it super
I
closely
mean,
with all
if
the
they,
other
if
news.
they go on the ground, it's not civilian proof. They're still going to probably shoot people because when
They
you're
will, but then you physically remove them and then they're gone. You put them in a van and a bus and you take them somewhere else.
right. I think like did Israel. I know this is ChatGPT, but wants to go on a ground invasion, but Biden stopped them. Let me see. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, there are current reports that Israel planned they wanted to do a major ground invasion, and the administration put back, withholding, delaying certain. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's
Once they were in Rafah, but I'm just saying that like since then a lot of time has passed and it's just continuing to be more of the same. Like I also get it because Israel's in a unique situation because they have hostages and they ostensibly want to save them. But yeah, I think if I was Israel, I would just say, hey, this is not working. This is too dangerous. We're going to clear you out and put you somewhere else. And that's what I would try to do.
right. Right. Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, it's really nothing is going to ever happen. Like it's going to, the war is going to probably end sooner or later, and it's just going to be, yeah. So
I actually disagree, man. I mean, the nothing ever happens. People sometimes lose perspective. Like, if we had told everyone what was going to have occurred in the last year, they would have been like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, we dropped bombs on Iran on there with our like B-2 bombers and
right,
broke their nuclear facilities. Israel has completely blitzed Gaza. Like, I think it's going to be the case that they're going to take over the Gaza Strip and probably do what I said. I don't know who's going to take the Palestinians, but it's very important that we don't take them
right,
here in the USA.
right. So this is my point here. It's like you wouldn't want Palestinians to live in the U.S. So you do agree that they're maybe not the people, maybe not so innocent here. I mean, like if a Jew would go to the Gaza Strip or even the West Bank, they'll be pelted with rocks. I mean, we could go. I know, like I remember Rex Jones talking about Israeli soldiers trying on Arabs' clothing. I don't know what the whole story was that, but like I mean, like after the whole Hamas raid and during the whole kibbutzim, I think like I saw this article like those Palestinian people that went along with them, they just went into those houses and made food and watched Netflix. I mean, like, or I mean, and the people that took those, remember the whole Beavis family? There were Palestinian civilians. I don't think they were even part of Hamas. So I mean, like,
No, no. Look, these people hate each other. Like
right,
all the Palestinians' recent history in the past 100 years, they lost everything they ever had, and they live in like what did I say, like 24 by 5 mile strip of land. Everything they've had was taken from them,
right.
and
I
so
mean, well, they never
they
really.
hate Israel. Israel hates them. So yeah, they do mean things to each other, and I don't want the Palestinians living here. But I don't know if that means necessarily that it's then justified to just indiscriminately bomb them and
Right,
collectively punish them for what Hamas did. I don't think that's right either, because it's not like they have a choice. If people can't leave if they wanted to. I mean,
right,
there's people there that don't like Hamas and they're still getting blown up.
right. I mean, for sure. I mean, like, what's it called again? I think like they had like a huge approval rating originally with the whole October 7th thing. Do you know what I'm talking about or no? Or
You're saying Hamas had a good approval rating and
right, they
Palestine
like
had another.
it's skyrocketed after
I'm not
Hamas.
sure, but I would guess maybe they did because that was probably the first time they felt that they actually struck a blow to Israel because they've just been getting their asses kicked for
Right,
80 years.
right. I
Um,
mean, but it's like revisionist history though. Like the whole thing. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong here, but I mean like in the sense that they never owned the country. People like make it out like Palestinians owned the country. Like they came in like the 1800s and it was never run by them. It was run by Turkey, and I think it was then run by UK. They never owned the country, and
Sure, I
then
don't, but that doesn't matter. That's not a material fact. Like they were there and they were living not under as oppressive conditions as they are right now. Like they were living better. They had more, and then that was taken from them by this country of Israel. So they understandably hate Israel, and they also fought back, and Israel hates them. But it's really just not good for people that hate each other to be living in close proximity. But unfortunately, that's what happens when you want to go in and set up a country in a place where people already live. That just goes with the territory.
right, right, yeah, yeah. I think they originally planned the UN planned to make it like a two-state solution, but I don't think they, yeah. But
Yeah, I mean,
anyways,
honestly, Israel probably should have been made somewhere else. Like they really wanted to go to ancient homeland, but
Yeah.
that wasn't probably the best call. I think they were looking at Ukraine, they were looking at other places, like a small piece of Ukraine. They probably should have gone somewhere else, but this is just what they chose, and now they're dealing with the consequences.
Right, exactly, yeah. But yeah, but also like it's something else I would like to talk about is like so you heard the whole Jimmy Kimmel getting axed, the whole thing that happened.
Yes.
This is what annoys me. The first thing is I don't know too much of. I mean, there's many details that are fuzzy to me. But even if, let's say, the government directly shut them down, like directly said Jimmy Kimmel cannot speak anymore, like these same people that are cheering him on supported Alex Jones getting fined for $1.5 billion. So I mean, like, and it's like where's the consistency here? And they're like making different excuses, like, but it's like, is there really any difference here?
There's a lot of layers, I think, with the Jimmy Kimmel situation, and I think it's actually an interesting case study. I mean, first of all, he's on one of the public broadcast networks, ABC, so they broadcast over public airwaves. So it is a unique situation where it's not like someone that would be on Fox News or on a cable show,
Right.
where like they actually have to get a license to broadcast on those frequencies, and so the government can revoke that license. So it's kind of an edge case. But for me personally, I don't really like that the government got involved because I think it was going to be fine just from public pressure and just
Right. No. No.
going
Well,
hard.
it
But
wasn't.
at the end,
It
on the other
was.
hand, sorry, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, it was originally going to be canceled. That's the thing that got me annoyed. Is was they're originally going to cancel him, and the government had to just step in and sort of ruin the optic war here. You know.
Right, but
So
it is narrow in that, like I was mentioning, they have to be a public broadcaster, and tactically, it's like there's not a single right wing or conservative program on any of these, uh, you know, broadcast networks. Like, who's the conservative late night host on network TV? There isn't one.
right.
There's no one to cancel if they wanted to. But, people don't make this distinction. So what they see is just the government, the FCC stepping in, threatening a company, and then someone getting fired. So that's obviously a very bad precedent. But you bring up Alex Jones, and like what happened to Alex Jones is so much more extreme than what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. It almost can't even be compared. I mean, Kimmel is temporarily losing his show. Alex Jones was depersoned, like hounded in court. He wasn't allowed to use any of the major websites in the country or in the world. Debanked, difficulty with financial transactions. I mean, it's just not even the same level. So, I mean, people talking about the quote unquote cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, he's temporarily lost his show that sucked, that like any other person would already have been fired because the show has been going down. It's the least popular late night show among a struggling medium.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not. This is the thing, though. I'm not sure even if FCC actually shut them down. I'm not. That's what I'm not sure about. I mean, I heard that.
The FCC threatened them. I mean, they went on an interview and they basically said, "Look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way." And they knew that the FCC was probably going to apply pressure, and so those companies are like, "Look, here's a TV show. First of all, everyone's pissed off. We're getting a ton of calls from private citizens that are pissed off at us and hate us. This show already is failing. We're not even making money on this show. This is a good excuse for us to just go ahead and shut this thing down and avoid a lot of headache."
right. I mean, okay, because he's the FCC person said on Dana Lash that he did not say that, so that's what's.
No, he said it on Benny Johnson's show. He came on, did an interview, and he said we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah, but wasn't Jimmy Kimmel going to be canceled anyways?
I
Like,
think he probably was going to face some kind of consequence, and I think honestly, the network is probably breathing a sigh of relief that the FCC made that statement and kind of bailed them out.
well, I
And I
mean, they're
wish they
losing
hadn't
money.
done it.
I heard they're losing money with the whole boycott thing. So,
Yeah, I'm sure they were going to lose money, and they were already losing money because the show itself I doubt it was profitable.
no, I'm saying, but now they're losing money from angry liberals.
Yeah, now it's going to be a huge nightmare for them. I guess that's true. Like, I mean, but then again, I mean, how long are liberals going to be able to go without their Disney Channel, their Disney stuff, their Netflix and all that, or
I don't really watch Disney really that much. I mean,
well, trust me, they do.
yeah, I mean, the only thing I really watch now these days is sports. I don't. I sort of like even Fox News. I sort of lost interest in it because I'm so deep into the whole Twitter online space. It sort of like makes Fox News sort of like you know what Fox News is now. It's just like some boomer thing, you know. So it's sort
Yeah,
of like yeah, it's sort of like there's the only thing I watch is sports, you know.
I
But I
actually
get
watch no Fox News, but I do like watching liberal MSM. Like I watch CNN and I watch like MSNBC sometimes. I watch a lot of CNN and I watch a lot of Canadian news for some reason, just because I find it interesting.
yeah, and
But
I
no, I
sometimes
think
try to get myself angry and watch. You know, Al Sharpton has like a radio show.
oh, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, no, it's just but it gets you very annoyed, and it's like it's a funny thing though because like the way he speaks about white people, it's like if you replaced white with Jew, it would be kicked off the airwave. So it's like it's kind of funny a little bit in a sense, but yeah, it's a pretty. It could get pretty annoying though, a little bit frustrating if that makes sense.
You
But
tell me Al Sharpton got annoying?
yeah, it gets because like he's But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, that dude's
But
probably a criminal, honestly.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I think it's good though. It's good to at least listen. I like to listen to what the other side is hearing, just to try to like at least understand their information ecosystem. It helps you kind of like just see like where are they even going this crazy? Where are they going so wrong? And I think it's good. But I really, only time I'll ever watch Fox News is if they have like a notable interview guest.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I don't like it. I've always hated Hannity, and all the good talent is off that channel now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what's like after he fired Tucker Carlson. I think that's when many people like jumped ship. But yeah,
Yeah, and I like Bill O'Reilly. You know, once
yeah,
they
me too.
got
Yeah,
him out of there, that was too bad, and that a lot of their good talent is gone.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, it's yeah, for sure. But I mean, like the whole thing with the FCC thing though is like at the end of the day, it's like the liberals like basically created the FCC. You know, like at the end of the day, is what they're doing. I don't agree with what they're doing to Jimmy Kimmel, but doesn't the FCC always get rid of free speech? I mean, like you can't say curse words on live TV, you'll be fine. So I mean, like,
Well, that's
isn't that
only on the network channels that are like on the
right?
public frequency. So at the end of the day, it's like, hey, we only have a certain number or a certain range of like radio frequencies or wavelengths for for TV and for radio. So I get that the government should regulate that. So that makes sense to me, honestly.
I mean, like, but we get into this whole problem of like censorship. I mean, like, you saw
I don't think they
Michael
should be
Knowles
censoring
tweet.
it. The First Amendment applies, but I don't think the FCC should stop existing. Like I think they should not be cracking down on
I
like
mean,
political speech.
but should a person be allowed to say curse words on national TV? I mean, if it's free speech, shouldn't a person be allowed to say curse words and stuff like that?
No, for the same reason they shouldn't be able to like there's a certain level where you should just have it be it's for public consumption. Like if they want to be on cable and do that, that makes sense. But this is like,
Right.
for everyone. It makes sense for them to have some kind of rule standard. I don't want to be the guy that's sitting there like, well, you can say damn, but you can't say fuck and like, setting those rules. I do think those rules should exist and we can argue about where that line is. But I mean, you don't want them like broadcasting hardcore porn on the public frequencies. There's going to be some level where you say, hey, we don't go past this, and that's fine. I don't care where they said it really.
I mean, I used to be the person that says, stuff like whatever, like you just mentioned, the P word is part of free speech. But now, like the more I think about it, it's really stupid. It's like, is snorting cocaine part of free speech? You know what I mean? That's sort of like I don't really think obscenity and free speech are the same thing.
It's not, and that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, that's not the purpose of the First Amendment.
I mean, like you could say like saying blasphemy stuff is part of free speech. So like something like that, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with blasphemy, but that's part of free speech. I can't deny that. That's part. But like a person, like people will say, but sometimes they use obscenity to say a free speech. Like they might be whatever to like. I remember like KFC. They one time didn't wear any clothing to like protest them for some reason. But like, it's like, should I be able to snort cocaine in public to protest drug laws? You know what I mean? It's like something. So
Yeah, I would say that goes out of speech. And at that point, you're using a controlled substance. But as far as the obscenity stuff goes, I mean, obviously, we've lost that argument to some extent, and that's why there's so much filth around. But I
mhm,
think it's time to start thinking about that again. I think we realize now because we're kind of at the state of excess where, with smartphones, with technology, like all of this pretty bad
mhm.
stuff is so easily accessible that people actually see what is bad about that upper limit, and we can start having serious discussions about draw
I
that
know.
line.
Well, I don't think we should like what's it called again, ban it because at the end of the day, like I remember Ron Paul, and I don't agree with him on this situation, but he made a law. He refused to. Let me see what Ron Paul said. He said something. Basically, there was a provider that wanted to protect kids from predators, and Ron Paul voted no because he says it's the parents' job. And that was stupid, obviously, because
Talking about Ron
kids.
Paul or Rand Paul?
Ron Paul,
Ron
his
Paul. Okay.
father, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Got
that
it.
was, I believe, that was stupid because kids are being harmed. But in the case of whatever, you know, it's kind of a person's job not to see it. And like it's sort of like it's your responsibility not to see it. And I mean, like once we start doing that, we're going to like half the videos are going to start to be banned as well. It's really a slippery slope, and I think the best part is just try to protect kids. Like these sites shouldn't make it so easy for like a person. Like if a person tries to go on these sites, shouldn't there at least be a warning or something like that? They make it like so easy. It's like at least for the kids, it's better to like maybe have them have to put like a credit, like what do they call again, like a photo ID. It won't work for so long, but it's going to work long enough that at least a 13-year-old can't go on it or a 12-year-old can't go on it. You know what I mean? So I mean, like,
Yeah, I haven't thought about like the specific mechanism of cracking down on this kind of stuff, but I'm sure there's people that have thought of those policies, and if there, I would support more restrictive policies around that, and I just haven't done enough thinking on like what specifically that would look like.
right? But I mean, like, banning it totally, I don't think is the right. It would cause more problems than it fix. You
I
don't
don't even
want.
know what I don't know if it would.
Yeah.
What problems would it cause?
Well, I mean, you have to ban half most rated R movies because they have scenes that are very, mature. If that makes sense. So I mean, like, you have to like a standard like bookstore or standard library would have to like purge half their items. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I
very
wonder what because there were obscenity laws at some point, and they were, you know, they fought against them and won. But I wonder, like, what were the specific things of those early obscenity laws? Like, what was the line in the older days? But I mean, you bring up some good points. Like, obviously, like if you went too hard the other way, you could start really hurting, artistic expression in some way. But I would say we're way closer to the other extreme. So I'm ready to start going back towards the middle or towards the other side. Like right now, it's way too permissive.
right. By the way, what was the whole thing? You just sent me a link about the U.S. military. They're taking over Venezuela. What exactly happened?
Oh yeah, that was in the group chat. I mean, I was just there's the guy. First of all, shout out Jared's Village. That's my little personal group chat on Twitter, and they do a good job keeping me up to date on things going on. And there's a guy in there, MAGA loyalist, who always is sending the newest stuff. And I think there's some reports that Venezuela may become the target of a U.S. military operation. Um, ostensibly, like the stated goal would be to crack down on the illegal drug trade. But I think there's a lot of U.S. interest in Venezuela. It's an extremely oil-rich country that is run very poorly and is hostile towards the United States. And so, if we could replace it with our own puppet government, it would really help us. And this would be the first conflict of my life that actually would maybe directly benefit the U.S. versus benefit Israel or just be for some
Well, I'm
other.
saying like Iraq. How would that benefit? Like, isn't the same argument be for Iraq as well? Or
No, not really, because well, maybe like if we had actually done it for some kind of imperialistic reason, but we weren't doing it for that reason. We were doing that to topple Saddam Hussein on behalf of Israel. But in this case, Venezuela, like they're in our hemisphere, they're pretty proximal to us. So if we can topple their government and replace it with one more friendly to us, that would actually help us get more oil, and it would just be financially beneficial to the United States.
I mean, I'm confused about the whole thing about because funny enough, actually toppling Saddam Hussein did it really benefit Israel? I mean, like it's sort of like you know,
Oh, it did.
um,
Because before, I mean, Saddam Hussein was a very strong leader for Iraq. He had them. He had a pretty strong military, and he was hostile towards Israel. And who runs Iraq now?
I think ISIS. No, or no, they don't.
No, but I'm just saying, like you don't know. You don't know him. Like then, no one knows who runs Iraq. Like it's decimated. The government's
I
decimated.
mean, like I mean, like yeah. I mean, if
So they
ISIS,
had a they want to become. They don't want a bunch of powerful players out there that could thwart them. That's why they want us to take down Iran now, because Iran is really the last man standing.
Mhm.
And and now we succeeded in that for them in Iraq. They're no longer a serious player.
I mean, do you think actually Saddam Hussein was a good person, or
No, no, no,
okay? Because many
dude.
people think that he was not a good person.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't
like
think Saddam
it's
Hussein
sort of
was a
like the
good
same
guy.
people like yeah, people like say Putin is a good person. And listen, I'm
I
not a
also
supporter of Ukraine at all, but he's not a good person either. I like. Do you
I
know
don't
that?
think it's useful to even think in these terms of like, yeah, I think the leader of Eritrea is a really good guy. Like, I mean, I don't care. Like, they're good.
Right.
Like, what does that even mean? Like, does he go home to his does
I
he
mean,
kiss
you see,
kiss his wife and kid?
no, he. I mean, like, you heard about the whole Moscow theater siege? You ever heard of it?
That's that like where the terrorists took it over and they just
Yeah,
blasted everybody.
yeah. And then Putin, I get, they like put poisonous like fentanyl gas there, and it killed basically the hostages as well. So it was like sort of like, he wasn't. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm not under any illusion that Putin is a good guy either. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
most of the leaders of the world are probably pretty ruthless people. You have to be pretty ruthless to get to that level of power in a
Right,
democracy.
right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think what's his name again, Zelensky is any better. It's hard to like say now because the media sort of like whitewashing what Ukraine really is. But yeah, I don't think he's any better. But it's like not something that I really, I mean, people like to make it out that Putin is not part of the deep state either. For some reason, Alex Jones makes that out, but he's like I think there's a picture of him kissing the Quran. He's just as maybe not as bad as like Trump or some other of them, but he's somewhat compromised as well. He's not exactly, that's my
Putin
opinion.
is just pro-Russia. Like
Yeah.
he's enacting his vision for his country. And I think
Mhm.
his vision is flawed and I think he's making a lot of mistakes. Like even from the perspective of someone who's trying to help Russia, I think he's making some bad mistakes. But I know that's what he is. At least he's not like some kind of shill for a foreign government. Like he's doing it for Russia, and I think he's ruthless. But I don't question his loyalty.
Right, 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 for sure. Yeah, no, like I mean, like it just the thing is about whether it's Russia or stuff like that. It's like you can't, they sort of have like they sort of act like Israel in a way, like rules for thee but not for them. That's sort of what annoys me the most with those countries such as what Russia and Qatar and stuff like that is they act the same as Israel really. They like you know
I mean,
they
all of
yeah
these countries are adversarial to us and will try to screw us over. And I know they're always working this. But when you think about like the ones that are actually succeeding in these operations against us, I mean, Israel is able to extract billions and billions of dollars from us on a yearly basis for a very small country. Like we give them an enormous amount of money when you consider how small their population is.
yeah,
Russia is constantly trying to do
yeah.
disinformation ops on us, and they're constantly in the right wing spreading garbage and getting people like a lot of this Israel killed Charlie Kirk stuff is spread by Russian
I think
affiliated
is
accounts.
it by Antifa? I heard it was by Antifa. No,
They are doing it too. And there's
yeah,
actually a lot of connection there. Like Russia, like Jackson Hinkle, who's like the
Nico. Yeah.
MAGA communist little queer. He's for
He's funny. I
sure
mean,
getting
he's
funding from Russia.
no, he's for sure. He's a. I find him. I don't take him seriously. He's actually pretty funny if you don't. Once you don't take him seriously, because he says some of the dumbest stuff out there, like Africa should have nukes. Like you heard him. Remember that tweet he sent?
Yeah, he's a very strange guy. I don't even know if he's sincere or if he's just doing
No,
what
he's not.
someone's paying him to say.
He's
But
obviously a troll. Come on. He likes what's his name again? Kim Jong Un. He's obviously a troll. He's not like a anybody that's
well,
saying likes Kim Jong
he's
Un or
doing it
says
for pay, but I think there's people that actually like him that are kind of like a strange like left wing element. But in any case, I'm just saying that like Russia is doing operations against us as well. I mean, Russia, China, Israel, all of the
how about
all of these
Qatar?
countries.
What do you think about the Qatar thing? I think they're
I,
sort of
I'm
like Israel.
Go for it.
Sorry.
Tell me about Qatar.
No, I mean like they're sort of like Israel in the sense that they like fund the Young Turks and Al Jazeera media. They promote LGBTQ stuff and stuff like that when their own country doesn't really support those things. That's what I feel about Qatar. They're sort of like like I'm not I like if Israel. I'm not sure. Does Israel even promote these stuff? I think it's just the Jews in America. Does
No,
Israel even
no, no. But I think that's also like
or
very. I don't
wrong
like when
about this
people
or
are. like Israel is not pushing that kind of stuff, but like it's not like the Jews are a monolith. Like there's also like some very, there's like George Soros who was very anti-Zionist. Like there's also like extreme left-wing Jews that have networks that are doing bad things, but they're separate from Israel. Like no, Israel's not pushing that stuff, but I don't think Qatar really is either. If they're funding the Young Turks, I would assume it's probably just because they want to fund a Muslim host over here, who's like a Muslim media network.
But Shank is not Muslim. If he would be in a Muslim country, he would be executed. I think he's a apostate.
What do you mean? But I guess he's culturally. I think he is Muslim, man. I think he claims Islam. I don't know if he's like.
No. He's atheist. He's a devout atheist. He says he's culturally Muslim. I don't know what that means. Does he like?
Well, I think that they would like culture. I think these countries like it when culturally Muslim people are in positions of power over here, on both sides.
I mean, I don't know. Like they're very strict. They're very strict on apostasy in Islamic countries. Like they.
I don't think the government of Qatar is that like I don't think their governments are as theocratic as the people are. I think they just want to push their interests,
Right.
and they're not like they don't care so much about that.
All right. There, like I like what you said that George Soros is not a Zionist because many people like Ryan Dawson. Like I had a tweet argument with him, and he says George Soros is a Zionist though. And it's like, I don't know. I mean,
No, I mean these left-wing Jews really don't like Zionism, and but it's also kind of for their own group interest because they think that Zionism makes them look bad. They think that reflects poorly on them as Jews, so they don't want that. They don't want to see these like rabidly right-wing Jews.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of seeing with AI Pack is like they're trying to distance themselves from like people like what's the guy's name, Ben Gavir, Bezalel Smotrich, even Netanyahu. I think they're like not allow him to speak at a conference because he had those people in their cabinets. I see.
But it's all just tactics like that. Just because if they did that, it would be stupid because then Americans would hate them even more. So they're like, "Hey, don't come because you're going to make our job harder." They want to. Their whole job is to improve Israel's image and to advocate on behalf of Israel to our government, and they're really failing on the first one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, by the way, just a quick thing. Your username, Dims. Where did you get that from? By the way, just curious.
Which one, Jared Taylor Swift?
No, yeah. First, let's go with that. Is that actually your name or?
Yeah, no, it's not actually my name.
So it's
I just thought it was funny.
Okay, yeah, because
And I'm a big Jared Taylor fan. I really like. I like people that are very thoughtful and good communicators, and I think Jared Taylor is probably one of the best communicators on our side that have ever existed.
You don't mind that he's like he's not really Jake pilled so much?
I don't. Again, like if someone's not 100% overlapped with me, I don't care as long as they're doing a good job for the stuff where we do have overlap. And he just doesn't talk about Jews. It's not in his wheelhouse. Like he's a white advocate. Like he's talking about white people. He's not talking about Jews, and that's fine.
I mean, it's
not
hard.
everybody
It's hard
needs
to speak about. It's hard to speak about Jews when you're like pushing the bell curve, because Jews are kind of like they do the best in the bell curve, which I see many.
But it's also that like he has many Jewish friends that consider themselves white advocates as well. I mean, it's not like none of these groups are a monolith. Like I'm not like an absolutist on any of these groups.
Right. Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. I mean, I don't think you agree with me. I don't think most Jews think that Gentiles are subhuman. I think
subhuman is a very strong word, and
right, but I mean, not openly.
I do not think that most Jews think Gentiles are subhuman. Now, what I do think is that most Jews are keenly aware that they are Jewish, and they would look at other Jews in a way, with a kinship that they don't afford to Gentiles. But I don't think they're thinking we're subhuman.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, some of them, like I think, like many of them are starting to like intermarry stuff like this. I'm not sure if it's really, like I don't know, like I don't see it as much of a ethnocentrism with them. I mean, I think many of them just see themselves as white now. I think it's like dying. Like the whole.
I don't really think so. I mean, I don't think they're all like rabid ethnocentrists, but I think they just have a natural affinity and they have a knowledge. They know who's Jewish and who's not. Right. They know who they're going to call if they need someone to take a job at their company or help somebody out. And that's just how they roll.
Let me check one thing. How many Jews intermarry in America? Okay, 43% of Jewish adults are married to non-Jewish spouses. So I mean, like, is much higher. Okay, among those married in 2010, it says 61. For non-Orthodox, intermarriage is even higher, around 70%. So I mean, like, it's like a very high rate intermarriage, 70% among
But I mean,
non.
that's kind of been the story for their whole history. They're always like a diaspora people, and like many of them do intermarry because they don't live amongst themselves very much. But then an important subset do not intermarry, and they keep their culture. So like if they marry, they usually have the person, come in. But I mean, even like if you just look at them, their whole history, they're a diaspora people. They do some intermarrying.
I mean, like, well, Orthodox Jews are very anti-intermarriage, and they're
Yes,
not very they're not very popular. Trust me,
yeah,
they're not the ones,
they're different sects, of
right?
course.
They're not the ones like people like to. Reb Shmuley is like I've met many rabbis. Reb Shmuley is really the exception. He's really the exception to
You've
the rule.
you just said you've
Yeah,
met many rabbis.
yeah, yeah. No,
That's
no,
funny.
yeah,
I
no,
have not met many rabbis.
yeah, no. But if you ever been around an Orthodox Jew, like those religious Jews, they're very how they put this. They're very if you like say anything that's slightly have they're people that are very they won't even touch a woman's hand or some of them won't even see a woman's face. They're very you know so yeah, they're not running. Yeah, so yeah. By the way, did you hear about like changing topics, I guess, because we spoke a lot about this, but so I guess want to change it. You hear what's happened with the whole Destiny thing, you know, talking about?
Yes, I mean, you tell me specific. I mean, I'm always seeing Destiny things pop across my timeline, but which Destiny thing in
No,
particular?
this whole being so like celebrating this whole Charlie Kirk shooting. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I'll talk about that for a minute. So, I have you ever seen the movie The Thing?
did I might have what's the thing? The thing is it, oh, is it that clown movie?
No, man. The Thing is it's one of the best movies ever made. I would say it's a horror movie from the 1980s. But in The Thing, there's like this parasitic organism that can take on the appearance of whoever it's going after. So it can look just like you or look just like your friend, and so you can't tell who around you is like this thing versus the actual people. And they come up with a test to tell, which is where they take everyone's blood and they put a hot wire through it, and if they're infected, if they're the thing, their blood will like jump up and like attack them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's this Charlie Kirk murder was the test for that. It was the test from The Thing where they put the hot wire, and we got to see all the evil people raise their hand and make these videos and celebrate it. And it was something. It honestly chilled me to see. I can't even watch too many of those videos of the people celebrating because it's so heinous and so evil. But in his death, Charlie Kirk helped reveal how many of these people there are around us. And I think Destiny is just one of these like deeply evil people. Like in his soul, I think he's just completely eroded his conscience. And I hope there's a way to put him in prison soon because I think that he has incited violence and continues to do so. And I think if they were to investigate him, they'd probably find a lot more crimes that he's been involved
Yeah,
with if they get
well,
their hands on his
no, no,
electronic equipment.
I knew he was gonna do it. Like he said, he was happy with the Trump event. He said like even if his parents was out at the rally, he would be happy.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Like
just a completely soulless
no,
person
no,
who's lost their conscience.
no, but like he was like coming. Destiny was coming across as like sort of the sane leftist. He was trying to make that figure. He was for free speech. He was streaming with Nick Fuentes. He was sort of trying to make that image. He was,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
like, yeah, I
but
knew like I sort of like liked him a bit. I know he's a deadbeat dad. He's a degenerate and a what's it called again? A degenerate and yeah, degenerate and a predator. But I thought he was sort of being the sane leftist, and but after
the degenerate predator with the heart of gold.
yeah, the degenerate predator who's also a deadbeat. He's also a deadbeat dad as well. So I mean, like you
Yeah.
could put that as well to that. Like
Here's the thing with him. He's gotten worse. So I understand. Like you probably aren't a guy that just watched a lot of Destiny. You maybe saw him and he's like, oh, he's debating. Like he's at least having a conversation with these people. He brought Nick on, but as time has gone on, man, like I get he's twice divorced now. He's like you mentioned, a deadbeat dad, abandoned his son. He's like a weird sexual freak where he's going around sucking dudes off and filming it. And at this point, if you do that long enough and you're doing drugs and you're just living that way, eventually this is what happens to you. Like he's just spiraled out of control, and it's only going to get worse.
Right. I mean, like I don't know why he's like after the whole Trump thing. That's when I knew like, oh yeah, this person's garbage because he was happy. He went as far as to say like Trump, what's it called again? If his parents were there, he would be happy. It was like,
Yeah,
I
he's
was
been
like,
garbage for a long time, but at least now he's just kind of like fully mask off, and I do think it's likely he's going to be
yeah,
getting a call from the FBI pretty soon.
right. No, I mean, like, no, this is how it went. He went from being like I think a YouTube reaction to like Dr. Phil stuff, and then he like sort of went to being like a Hassan Piker left wing type person, and then he was slowly. I mean, he was trying to make himself look like the sane person, and then he like fully after Trump and the shooting, he sort of like exposed himself as being like just a total,
I think Destiny is far, far worse than Hassan Piker. A lot
I,
worse.
he might be because I did not think so until like the whole Trump thing. That's when I was like, oh yeah, he's like because he was the last person. I really thought he would be like the last person to like celebrate violence. He like was he's like with the whole the whole United Healthcare shooter. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So he said that he shouldn't be shot. He was anti the shooting of him. You know what I mean? He was being like, and then all of a sudden like he just like with Trump he just like sort of like yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know why he's trying to commit here because if he's trying to like be friends with the far left, they're never going to accept him. Like he supports Israel. Like the far left hates Israel. You know what I mean? That's like their most important issue right now is Israel. So I mean, like he's like I don't know who is he trying to promote, but like yeah, I mean like what happened? Like now it's like I have a deep hatred for Destiny. Now it's sort of like ever Charlie Kirk thing. Like I really want to like punch him. Nah, I don't want to punch him in the face, but like I really dislike him now. I really
Well,
you
that's
could live,
good. That's just kind of like you're disliking him in self-defense. Like he's made it clear if he were to see one of us die, he would be happy. He would cheer. Like he would love that. Like these people hate us. They want us dead. So it is in our best interest to defend ourselves from them however we can. And yeah, you should dislike Destiny, and you should dislike all the people like Destiny.
I mean, Chunky, what do you make of his whole turn to being trying to be reasonable?
Who? Sorry, I missed that.
Cenk Uygur.
Oh, I think that's kind of always been his shtick. I think now people see where the wind is blowing, like they know the right wing is having a moment. So it's kind of like a thing, like when you know you're about to lose, you're like, "Hey, man, good game. Like at least we can all be friends." Like that's kind of what Cenk is doing. Like he knows what time it is,
I
and
mean,
he's
he
kind of
could definitely do it now because like he hates Israel and he's anti-capitalism, which is not too hard to like. The right wing right now is not like very pro free market anyways, and they hate Israel. So he could just like his other stuff is not going to really affect him because right now he's like I guess you could say maybe he's pro, but he's not speaking. He's sort of like faring away from his social issues and more speaking about Israel and maybe economics as well. I mean like
he's just trying to appeal. I think he notices in his YouTube analytics too that like more right wing people are watching him because he's becoming like, oh, look at that, it's the reasonable leftist. And so I think he's just trying to fill that niche. Like it's a business decision for him too.
yeah.
Excuse
Because
me,
like
but I
when
think tactically he also thinks it's a good idea, like because he just knows that there's such a rightward shift right now. It's just easier to appeal to them and try to get them to agree with him on some things.
right because like I mean like what's it called again? Like he was celebrating Rush Limbaugh's death, not celebrating, but he says I don't feel bad for Rush Limbaugh. He was an evil, something like that. And it's like he was the person I would expect to be like Destiny, the one that would celebrate these deaths.
Well, I think it's far
It's fun.
different to be like, okay, someone passed of natural causes, and you're like, hey, basically good riddance. You don't have to like be, you don't have to mourn someone's passing. But when someone is like a young person in the prime of their life is assassinated for political speech on like camera, and then you cheer for that, I think that's very different from like Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying, and people are like, good riddance. At least
I
people
don't
still
think.
are celebrating. They're not like going to go out and celebrate, but people also aren't going to, I'm not going to
I
cry
mean,
about it.
were people really saying good riddance? I think most right wingers were like, saying their condolences to her. Weren't they doing that?
You
Or
could say condolences, like people condolence to the family, but I mean, it was pretty common, I think, back then for people to be like, oh, okay, I mean, she's gone. Like the people weren't like that sad about it.
right. Yeah, I mean, I
So
guess
I
yeah.
would say that when Chink
But
did
yeah,
that to Rush Limbaugh, it's distasteful, and I don't like it. But it's like categorically different from what Destiny and these other people are showing now.
yeah. I mean, Hassan Piker would like Hassan Piker. I'm actually surprised he didn't go that hard with Charlie Kirk. He always celebrated people's death. Like he celebrated for
Well,
some
he's just
reason.
smart. I mean, he's just a smart guy. Like like that's the other thing is like these evil people are also really stupid. They thought they could just upload themselves celebrating and it would be cool, and they would be fine
Yeah,
doing that. At least Hassan Piker knew that like he couldn't show his. I think he was probably happy, but he just knew better than to show his glee.
right. I mean, no, I mean, I think like what's his name again? I don't know if I would say he's smart. He says the dumbest stuff ever. Like America deserves 9/11 and like
Well,
threatens
but
to
that's
kill
how. But
people. Like
he's not like he's just an enemy. Like he's not dumb. He's just our enemy. He
I mean,
hates
well,
America.
I don't know, but even saying like you should kill Rick Scott, that's
Yes,
like that's like what's it called again? Um, that's like what's it called again? That's like you're gonna be banned. What do you expect from this? He should be banned for saying that. By the
well,
way,
he should actually be in prison for saying that,
well,
and
he should be
I
deported.
agree.
I mean, Alex Jones should literally not Alex Jones can't do it. Somebody, maybe Laura Loomer could do it. She's the type to do that. Make a petition to have him be deported into Turkey. I remember Alex Jones actually, funny enough, when the Piers Morgan debate. That's when I first found out about him. He like made a petition to deport Piers Morgan to the UK. Remember that whole thing? Or
Oh yeah, that was one of the best interviews of all time.
yeah, that was funny. Yeah. That's the funny thing I'm wondering is did Alex Jones actually ever say Sandy Hook was fake? Because nobody seemed to notice about it until the Megyn Kelly interview. That's when everybody decided that he said something about Sandy Hook. But really, did he say that? In my mind, it seemed like was he just throwing stuff to the wall? Was he
He
really
was
saying that?
definitely entertaining the idea, and I mean,
Which
you see Alex Jones today. He does a segment where he'll like all of a sudden be claiming something crazy. Like I'm sure he did segments where he would be like, "Yeah, like this is totally fake," but that's just kind of his thing, and I think you should be allowed to do
right,
that.
well, I mean, he wasn't saying it directly though. Like. Did he say definitely that's fake? I mean, the thing is, you could entertain ideas. For it to be slander, you have to say like, it's definitely true. Like, if I want to say like, what's the thing? Fine, let's say there's a story about somebody, and I say that this person definitely didn't do it. It definitely didn't do it. That's slander. But if I'm just
Here's
pointing
the
out
thing, though.
theory,
If I don't think it should be wrong. Like if he really thought that
exactly.
was fake, he should be able to go out and say, "I think this is fake." Like
Right.
that's a thought crime.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
I mean,
he
this.
wasn't like hating. He wasn't being a hate. He wasn't even being like mean to the kids. If you genuinely think that this thing was staged, then you have a responsibility to go out there and say that. Maybe he did think it. I don't care, but he shouldn't have had to pay any money for it either way. But
Yeah.
I don't
Funny.
know if he really thought it in his heart. But you should be allowed to theorize about things.
All right. Well, he's like, yeah, he's actually pretty. If you really during interviews, he's actually pretty. He's not that conspiratorial as people says. Like he believes in certain things. Like he believes like the moon landing, it actually did happen, except it was what's it called again? But the actual photos of it are not true because
Yeah, look, I've followed Alex Jones for a long time, very closely. I think Alex Jones is a patriot. I think he's the man, and yeah, I think he's totally cool.
you don't think he's a Zionist?
I think he's probably like lightly Zionist. Like he's like, yeah, Israel, you can do your thing, but at the end of the day, he calls it out when he feels
Yeah,
like they're
yeah, I know.
supplanting our interest.
Yeah, I never really got that. I never really got the whole thing because I've watched Alex Jones for a long time. I mean, he was never Zionist. Is the reason why people say he's Zionist is because he doesn't go all out schizo on
Yeah,
the
because
Jews? I
but
mean, like,
that is why, because he's so schizo on everything else, and but I mean that at the end of the day, that is somewhat of a business decision. Like he doesn't want a huge target on his back. Like he'll run with very little evidence on lots of conspiracies, but he doesn't run on like a bunch of anti-Jewish conspiracies in the same way. Like he
uh,
knows to avoid that topic, and that's fine.
um,
Like I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's better. I don't know. I'm not going to even get into. I mean, like, I mean, like maybe he will think that this could cause He doesn't want to cause violence against certain people, which
I think it's just that he knows that like he would have a lot of scrutiny for that, and I don't think he believes in any conspiracies having to do with that. I think he thinks that Israel was perhaps had some involvement in 9/11. I think he thinks that they helped direct our foreign policy for the Bush administration, and
Mhm.
they still try to influence our foreign policy decisions. But he calls that out when he feels like they're doing it. He
Right,
calls out Netanyahu. So I think that's fine. I don't think you have to just be like talking about it all the time. I think it's fine for people to stay in their lane.
right. I mean, like, do you think 9/11 was an inside job? Just curious, like.
Was an inside job.
I mean, I don't think so. Can I tell you why? Like, actually, I could show you a video. They have like videos of the 9/11 hijackers making martyrdom videos. You know what I'm talking about? Or
Look, I think that the hijackers were doing that for Allah. But I think that it's possible that we had advanced knowledge
right, of
of it,
course, right. Like a
and
hundred percent,
chose
yeah,
to allow it to happen or facilitated it in some way. And I
right,
think it's possible that Israel did that.
right.
But I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't think any kind of like weird stuff was going on. Building 7 is like kind of questionable. But I don't know. I don't know for sure on that.
No, like it's for sure. Like no, I agree. Like it could have been like October. So like October 7th, everybody says was not an inside job. Israel allowed that to happen. I think that was the case maybe with 9/11
Yes,
or not.
that's a perfect analogy.
Right,
Yes.
right. No, I mean like I don't really. I wouldn't say like maybe they. I'll put this way. Maybe they knew it was going to happen, but they didn't think it would happen. You know, some people are lazy with stuff. You know what I mean? Like you see with the police, they're always lazy sometimes to do things. I think that was maybe their thing. They were being like lazy or something like that. Maybe in the back of their mind, they say that, this won't actually be so bad for us. But I don't know because like it was with the whole thing, like the whole stuff don't really match. It's like you could say there were Israeli agents. Like why would an agent commit suicide or
Who?
like
Who was an Israeli? Yeah, I don't
the
know. Look,
hijackers? Like
anyone that thinks that is retarded. Obviously not.
yeah, or like there's many other ones that was remote controlled or
Yeah,
there's even a
no.
stupid yeah.
There were Muslim hijackers that took over the planes and flew them into the buildings because they thought it was a good thing.
Right,
But the question is, did we allow them to do that? Did we
right,
know
right,
it was going to happen and allow it to happen?
right. I mean, you heard the whole theory of I think this is one even Alex Jones thinks is retarded, like that they had like all those planes were basically like I don't know what do they call them again? Where like South Park did an episode about this where they make people look real, but they're not actually real. Like what do they call them again?
Like a hologram? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the planes were holograms
Okay,
basically.
yeah. No, the
Yeah,
plane. No, all of this is just silliness to me. Like that's internet silliness.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's like there's many weird theories on it. It's actually pretty interesting if you go through the whole story of 9/11 and stuff like that. You know, like if you go deep into all the hijackers and stuff like that, gets very interesting. You ever went deep into it or no? Or
Not really. I've done enough reading to feel pretty confident that I think if I did additional reading, I couldn't be any more confident of the outcome. Like I know the fault lines, I know the different arguments, and I kind of have a current theory of what happened. But I really think what's important about 9/11 is how the response to it was instrumentalized and used. And so I don't think it's that important to dwell on it.
I mean, do you think there's going to be another one like people claim?
A false flag attack of some kind.
Yeah,
Or
like I
you're
think
saying,
Jake
are you saying
Shields.
a real? Do I think a real terrorist attack is going to happen, or a false flag attack?
Yeah, false flag attack, like people say, or not false. Like I'm
Um,
not. I don't know. This is what Jake Shields is saying. I mean,
yeah, I know a lot of people are saying Israel's going to do it to try to make us go to war with Iran. Yeah, that's a tough thing to predict, and I feel like anyone that's putting out a prediction and acting like you should take them seriously doesn't really know.
well, this is what Jake Shields is saying. Breaking: the Jews have new 9/11 plan because this
Yeah,
was said.
he's just making fun of Laura Loomer, but that is actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
mean, he
No, I
really.
mean Laura Loomer is always saying we're going to have a Muslim terror attack. It's possible that we will. It doesn't. I mean, here's the thing though. Like when we support and pay for Israel's fight against Gaza, and when we go and blow up Iran, that actually does increase the chance of a terror attack here. So maybe we'll have a real one. Like I mean, Islamic terror is real. So I'll have
Right,
to assess it
exactly.
when I can't just tell you, hey, we're gonna have a false flag attack. Maybe we'll have a real attack. Maybe we will have a false flag attack. You just have to address it. You have to assess it when it
Right,
comes. So I'm not going to sit
right.
here
I
and say
mean,
it's either. I hope to God we don't have either of them.
right. I mean, like Israel, like it would definitely benefit. Like, Palestinian type organization or Hezbollah would commit like an attack that would truly benefit from that. That's one way they could.
Sorry, say it again.
Israel would benefit from it if it would be
Yes,
from Hamas or from Hezbollah, like
or
some.
an Iranian proxy somewhere else. Yeah, if
Exactly,
they could,
yeah.
if there was an attack and they could pin it on Iran or on one of these other groups,
Right.
yeah, that would be great for Israel.
I
But I
mean, I
kind
don't
of
know.
feel bad for Israel because at the end of the day, it's like that could happen, and then they're going to get. They know they're actually probably praying. If they're not doing a false flag, they're praying it doesn't happen because they know they're going to get blamed
I mean,
if
like in
America gets attacked.
I mean, like ISIS, like that one, they might get blamed because ISIS is not really allies with the Palestinian states. I mean, because they're like the ultra version of Islam. Basically, they're like
I
the
don't even know how they're doing these days, man. I haven't heard of ISIS in a
they're,
long
they're not
time.
doing well.
I don't think they're getting as
No,
much
no,
money
they're
as they were getting before.
no, they're basically dead. I mean, they have some sleeper cells and stuff like that, but it's yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
but an attack of any kind would be really bad on many levels. Of course, it's always bad to get attacked, but the schism that would happen. I mean, there's so many people that are going to reflexively say it's Israel, even if it's not.
mm.
And then there's going to be a push for war. It would be terrible. I really hope it does
I
not
mean, yeah.
happen.
I think maybe Israel is starting to get this because you're starting to realize canceling people for not being like that was the new like with Kanye they were trying to cancel him for speaking about the Jews, which kind of proved everybody's point. I don't know how they didn't really how these people didn't notice that, but
Yeah.
I see they're now teaming up with Patrick Beth David,
Who is
um,
they?
um, what's his name again? Netanyahu and like
Oh
Patrick
yeah,
Beth David. Who else are they doing it?
he went on with the Nelk boys too. That's funny.
Yeah, that was stupid though. Like, why are people angry about that? Like, they can interview whoever they want to. I'm not endorsing it. Like, Time Magazine interviewed Hitler. Doesn't
Yeah,
mean
I
that.
think it's just that they know that the Nelk boys were used as like a tool. Like Netanyahu was probably like, okay, who's the dumbest people that have the biggest platform? I want to do an interview with the dumbest people with the biggest platform, and they were like, hey, take these guys. So I think that's why, because they weren't equipped for. They had no idea of anything going on. They have no concept of what's going on in the world, and so they didn't do a good interview.
Right, right. Yeah. I don't really. I guess I don't know. I mean, like it was, and then he went on Patrick Beth David. People like they're not so pro-Israel, but are sort of like, or like Tim Pool. I think he's sort of like getting that he could use them, as sort of like a tool, basically. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like they're having the biggest PR crisis of their life. Like it's a five alarm fire for them. They had such a terrible year last year. There were Jews popping out of the tunnels in New York City that everyone made fun of. There were
yeah.
like all
That the way
the
that the whole story was basically garbage. That was like
sure. Look,
it was
I'm
like
just
a
telling you optically, everyone's looking at videos of Jews scurrying out of tunnels, and in the midst of this whole Israel crisis, they have not had a good year. They have not had a good 365 days.
yeah,
And they don't know what to do because if they push too hard against it, then people start saying, "Oh, look, these Jewish groups are pushing against it." The ADL is hogtied right now. They don't even know what to do. And I don't. And for the first
right,
time, I don't envy their position. They're not in a good. It's not looking good for them.
right, yeah, yeah,
And it's been for the first time in my life they were on easy street. They were living it up
right,
for the first decades of my life.
yeah. Yeah, it kind of does it kind of worry you that what could happen. Like, I know you're not so into the Jewish people, but like with the hatred that's happening, an attack
Yes,
could happen
yes. I
because
don't want. I don't want there to be extreme racial strife in my country or ethnic strife. So that's kind of
right,
why I was like, I mean, but honestly, the Jews probably should have thought about that for a while. Been like, hey, if we end up getting called out on this or people don't like this, what is that going to look like? I
right,
mean, they have the APAC, the ADL, these various groups. They're fleecing us for money to Israel. Like, eventually, the bill's going to get paid one way or the other. And the problem is now, I mean, you see it with the Charlie Kirk thing. Like, there's people that are just ready to blame them for anything,
right,
and it can spiral out of control to where even like someone like me who's like kind of I would call myself like an intellectual counter Semite. Like I'm looking at Israel, I'm like, okay, here's what they're doing. I'm looking at these leftist Jewish groups. I know what's going on, but I'm not a hateful person. But there's hateful people out there that are on the
mhm,
brink, and so I'm worried. I don't want that to
yeah,
be triggered.
yeah. Like Jake Shields, what these people promote, like Jake Shields or Stu Peters, it could easily they're basically sometimes endorse violence. I'm not trying to like sound whatever, but Some of their
And what do they
rhetoric they
have in
use
common?
almost endorses by
What do they have in common?
their.
Two of the dumbest people online.
I mean, Stu Peters is basically a grifter. If you really go into him, he
He's not
had
just a
like.
grifter; he's an idiot. He's
Uh,
a really
I mean,
stupid person.
he used to be. He went from a rapper to a bounty hunter to a Q-tard to a
Yes,
anti-Semite. It was like
yeah,
very. It's like the Bake Alaska, the successful version of Bake
that's a
Alaska.
natural. That's a natural progression.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like with
Baked Alaska has 20 to 30 IQ points on Stu Peters.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like what's his name again? Like Jake Shields. Like there's actually you heard the rumors that he might be like gay. You heard about this or no?
I'm sure he does. I've saw he did some fruity stuff before. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
you know the
sure.
false and fair thing. What's it called again?
Yeah,
Yeah, like he went to fair. Yeah, yeah. He blames
that's
it on the
fine. Look,
drugs, which I don't know. Like,
yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, all these guys have done some freaky stuff. Mike Cernovich was banging trannies and writing about it online. I mean, these guys
yeah,
are all weirdos.
yeah. So yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, no. But even the GSP fight. When are you into UFC or no? Do you know
I
anything
love
about
UFC.
UFC?
Yes,
Yeah, so you know about so when he fought well, I think I saw this on Grok when he fought what's his name George St. Pierre. There were like rumors, like I think there's like actual rumors like among the MMA community that he's actually, you know, I mean like some of them like Elijah Schaefer. It's pretty obvious that he's a homosexual. He's even more gay than Nick.
Elijah Schaefer. Something weird's going on. It's not
Right?
an organic. It's
Yeah,
an organic audience. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know who's paying him. I don't know what's going on, but that's a very unnatural situation
yeah,
going on with Elijah
yeah.
Schaefer.
I mean, who do you think is like out of the three people, Nick, Elijah Schaefer, and Hunter Avalon? Who do you think is the most gay? If you had to
I'm sorry. What
guess,
was the last one?
Hunter Avalon. He's
Um, who is the most gay?
yeah, yeah,
I don't know a lot about Hunter Avalon.
right,
I would say Elijah Schaefer because I actually have gotten like decent word that he was like predatory towards some young men at one
yeah,
point. So I would say Elijah Schaefer, but that's me not
yeah,
really knowing anything about Hunter.
yeah. I really hope he gets exposed soon. It's like no,
But I mean, what's
no,
to expose? Like, who watches this guy? Like,
yeah,
like he pops up on X sometimes, but like, who really is following
right,
this guy? And it's
yeah.
always something about him complaining about his life. I don't know. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, like Nick Fuentes, like he's at this point. I'd be more surprised if there was like a report um, of him being straight. I'd be more surprised in the report of him being gay. It's sort of like I don't know if it's kind of obvious he's pretty much gay or he has some weird orientation, if that makes sense. What my
Yeah,
theory on him
I
is
do
that
think he probably has a weird orientation of some kind. Like he's obviously not that attracted to women. He's a big
uh,
time, he's like, he's into the incel culture or whatever, which I really don't think is healthy if you do it for a long time. It's not good for your mind. But you know what? I wish him the best. I hope he's able to find something that works for him and settle down with a woman one day.
right. No, I think that he's actually. My theory is that he was probably like, what's his name again? That he was molested by a lady, and that sort of cat. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. That makes
That's
total
funny.
sense, and
Your
that's why.
theory is that he was molested by a woman, and that's why he's the way he is.
Yeah,
Oh
because
man,
no, it makes sense.
that's your
Many people.
psychoanalysis. That's actually very funny. I haven't seen that theory.
No, I think people. It's odd. I mean, like, why does he hate women so much? Like, I know many. There are many. There's two ways to go about it. Like when people are molested or whatever, they either start to get confused and be part of that. That's why many people are gay. Is because they're
Look,
molested.
I think it's valid. I haven't seen any evidence of it, but I think yeah, I could see it. I could see it. I hope it
Like, I
didn't
mean, like,
happen.
but like if you speak to some lesbians, they'll tell you that they were molested as kids, and
Pretty
many.
much all of them. I don't know about some. I think it's all.
I mean, maybe, but they're molested by men. They start to hate men, despise them, or with males. There have been they. This is the only story I see with males. They're molested as kids. They got confused because their body reacted to a certain way, and that's how they became gay.
Yeah,
Basically, it's like
that's pretty much all of
yeah, yeah.
the whole pie
The
there.
media won't. Yeah, the media won't tell it to you, but yeah, it's pretty odd. It's nobody's like not so into the whole thing that they're born this way, stuff like that. It's sort of like yeah,
No, it's a
that's
response to abuse, to severe
yeah,
abuse. And I do think some people probably have a slight tendency one way or the other. But
Mm.
you know, like let's say Nick is attracted to dudes. I mean, if you feel that way, just don't do it. Like you just go marry a woman and do the right thing. That's what you should do.
Right, right, right. I don't think he's when people I don't when he's gay. I don't think he's I don't know how to explain. I don't think he's like highly has a very big drive. If that makes sense. Like he seems like a
Yeah, he's
low.
not an active homosexual. But at the end of the day, like I just want him to set a good example. That's my biggest one of my other big beefs with Nick is like, and that's really where you can see the contrast with Charlie Kirk is that Charlie was such a great example in his personal life of how to be a man, of like what it looks like to be a man in 2025. You know, like be a devoted dad, like a good husband, and all this. And Nick is living the lifestyle of like of a neat. So when people and Charlie's constantly working, like he's a workhorse, very
Mm.
disciplined. Nick is waking up at 2 p.m. He might do a show, he might not. He's playing video games all day. He's not, it's not the kind of lifestyle that young men should be looking up to or trying to emulate. And so that I wish Nick would consider that more.
Right. He definitely the whole problem with the grape movement. Probably the biggest thing is that they encourage mental illness. Problem with them is they encourage mental illness. That's the whole part of the movement. Do you get what I mean or no?
Yeah, I mean they're just a bunch of like antisocial weirdos, and like that's not the type of image he should want to curate. I think he should think bigger, and maybe he can be a good example to these kids that follow him and try to get him like. And he's telling him like he told him recently, like get in the gym. Like he needs to be caring about fitness. He needs to eat better. He needs to live better. Wake up at a certain time. Be more disciplined. He has such talent that if he actually applied himself, I think he could do some really good stuff. But he needs to grow up, dude. He's about to be 30. He needs to freaking get it
I
together.
mean, does he really have talent? I heard people saying, but is he like stuff he says is like any like it's not really the most impressive stuff. Like Jews run the world.
Look,
Jews
dude,
many Jews run the world. Black crime.
no,
That's
look,
for simple.
there's a lot of people saying those things, and he has taken some of the most severe deplatforming of anyone, and through all that is still probably one of the most popular political. There's many times where he has the number one stream in the world, number one live stream. So yeah, I think like it's undeniable that he has talent, or he wouldn't have achieved success despite all the headwinds that he's had.
Is it really hard to speak about black crime or that Jews run the media and stuff like that? Those are like basic facts. Like,
No, but there's a
because he
lot of people doing that. It's not just that. Like because if it was just that, then these
doesn't
other guys that are
speak
constantly
about
blaming Israel for
abortion or
everything.
minimum wage or something like that. No,
Well, I mean, he doesn't really talk about minimum wage, but he talks about other stuff too. I mean,
right, but
like
that's
I
not
was
as
a guy. I
that's
watched a lot of Nick's stuff over the years. I tuned out for the past 2 years with the whole Kanye situation and everything, and just saw enough to realize that I wasn't missing anything. But no, I mean, I think it's like it's just objective that if he didn't have talent, he would not be able to be one of the most popular streamers in the world, despite all the banning.
right. Like he definitely has talent in his speaking in his but like he's not really bringing out good points. Like the points like he, I mean the stuff he says is he says that he presents the stuff good like but it's not like he's a good speaker but it's not like I would say he would be a good debater or something like that like
He's a great debate. Look up his debates. He's done a great job in debates. He debated Hassan Piker a long time ago. It was very
he
good.
didn't do like did he really do a good job against Dinesh D'Souza? That debate was sort of like evenly. You don't think so? Or
I think that Dinesh is just kind of like a dumb. I thought Nick did a fine job. I mean, honestly, I thought they both did pretty good. I think they both came away from that like scoring some points. But yeah, I thought Nick was
I
fine.
mean, like, what's he like? Does he like? I don't know. Like, I feel like anybody like. I'm not presented in Nick's way because like somebody that's anti-soldier is not going to present it well. But a person that's a good speaker, anybody could say like Jews run the media, or like
Oh yeah, but
black.
it's not. That's not really how it is. Like he talks about specific things, and yeah, I think a lot of the talk, the recent work has been really bad. But despite being like talking about stuff that's lame, he's still maintained a big audience. Like, I mean,
Do you think he could be like convince people like hard like about healthcare or like even
yeah,
abortion? It's
I
not
do.
that hard.
I
Those
do.
things
I
are
do think he could. I do. If he wanted to, I think. I
It's just
think
the
he's
wise.
just a naturally very good, gifted speaker. I think he's naturally funny, and he's high IQ. I do think that. I don't know if
So,
he's going to because he's also very undisciplined and has a
right.
lot of problems. But well,
Well, I'm saying if he wants to be in the mainstream, like even back before he was popular, instead of talking about like black IQ and stuff like that, like speak more about like I don't know like health. I don't know, like try to get like speak about like why blacks are not persecuted, stuff like that. You know who atheism is unstoppable is?
no.
He's some person on he's far right. I don't know if he's far right, but he has far right views on race, if that makes sense. He believes in race and IQ, but he barely ever brings it up. He usually speaks about black crime and how they're not persecuted and how like this story is false. The like really brings up exposes false narratives by the media, like the George Floyd thing or like
Yeah,
the
but I've never heard of him. I've heard of Nick Fuentes because he,
right.
I guess, does it in a certain way that appeals to the masses. I
Right.
mean,
I mean, I would say abortion, but I don't know if that was really would be
he talks
something.
about that. I mean, he talks about that pretty commonly.
I mean,
He said that's one of the big things he agreed with Charlie Kirk on is how anti-abortion he was.
yeah, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like I don't know. Can a racist person really be anti-abortion? Because
Well,
it's
tell
sort
me
of like
what again. You have to tell me what racist means. What do you mean? But
a
can a
person
racist person?
that's into demographics. Like one of the big reasons why the black population has been like 13% of the U.S. since like the 90s. It's not grown. It's been like the same way since the 90s, and there's a reason for it. It's because of extreme abortion and stuff like that. I mean, like I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm not that into demographics. But somebody that's into demographics, like the people being aborted are blacks and Hispanics per capita. Like, you don't agree with me on that, or
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But I mean, I guess you could say like, well, I don't know. I don't want to say anything too crazy here, but it's like if you think that's murder, like let's just say we murdered all the dumb people in the
mm-hmm.
country would be better off. But that's not good to do because that's wrong to murder people. So the
Right?
same way for abortion, I could say like, yeah, it's good. I mean, like we're probably better off that we don't have a lot of like additional black people
Mm-hmm.
in the country. Like we're probably like a more prosperous society,
Mm-hmm.
but that still doesn't mean it's right to murder them or to kill
Right.
the babies.
I mean, like like without abortion, blacks would be like 50% of the population. There would be
Mm,
a lot of America. There would
I
be,
don't know about those numbers, but yeah, I do know that it's a huge drag on their population growth.
which is
But
something
again,
I
I would
don't
say
get.
like let's just like it still doesn't mean that it's right to
All right.
kill babies.
Which proves like the Democrats are not that like that's the thing problem I have with the right replacement theory is I sort of like understand believe that Democrats want that to happen, but the thing is if they want it to happen, like the thing is why aren't they not anti-abortion, because like that's the thing I don't get about Democrats. They like should like I know their base is pro abortion, that's why they are this way, but it's
Yeah,
like
why?
they're aborting
If
their
they were
votes.
anti-abortion, then they would lose all their voting base. They want power, so they want to replace the white people that vote Republican with people from other places that vote for them.
Right. I mean, but if they would like, they're kind of aborting their votes. They're kind of like
Well,
killing
yeah,
their votes.
but not really though, because you got to think of the other side of that. If they came out against abortion, they would lose a bunch of votes.
Right.
They
Right.
would lose more votes than they would gain from from the babies.
Right. No, I mean, but what could do is like Bill Gates or somebody like or these Jewish organizations. They could be like the Democrats don't have to be specifically, but they could push like a pro-life message through like using proxies and stuff like that. And that
Yeah,
way,
still like they'd be like the Democrats are pushing pro-life messaging, and they would lose a bunch of support. They're not going,
I
to and
mean,
also they love abortion, so they're going to support it. They just
even
love
for
it for
the
what it is.
even though it's going to like it sort of ruins their what's it called again, their their agenda of making the America.
If you can bring in 20 million people across the border illegally at any time, you don't need the
I
aborted
mean,
babies.
but Hispanics are not as blacks are like obsessively vote Democrat. It's like 90 to 10, which is actually pretty scary. How one I think they vote Democrats even more than Democrats vote Democrats. It's like insane their
Yeah,
voting base. For like,
but if you can just bring in so many, it doesn't matter.
I mean, do you believe those numbers or do you think they're fake in a sense? Because I know
Oh, I believe that number, but I think most of the votes are fake. I think like black people, they just go to like the projects and they just say, "Hey, sign this piece of paper," or they just put them on a bus and they bring them in and they just tell them, "Hey, if you vote for the D person, or if they vote for the R, he's going to take your food stamps and take your free money, and they just line up and they just press the button. They're not.
Right.
These aren't like thoughtful voters.
Like Chicago, these places where they live are very corrupt places. So I
Right.
mean,
So they just have somebody go to their neighborhood and they say, "Hey, sign this," and then they go to the next house,
right,
the
right,
next apartment.
right. So you don't think they're like naturally liberal. They just
They're
are.
not liberal. They want the money. They want the free money.
Okay. So I'm saying if I would ask most blacks about abortion or about gay marriage, something like that, or about immigration, they probably would not be able to give me a straight answer.
No, they would not be down for really any of those things. They wouldn't like to sit there and say they're pro-abortion, probably, but they don't. They're not down with the gay stuff, and they're not down with the immigrants.
Right? They're not for. I mean, for sure. That's why I don't get is like, if I've been to like places like New Jersey, which has a lot of cities in New Jersey which have a lot of Mexicans, and like to me, it's like they're taking the black jobs, and I think Trump said that. He says, "What do you mean black jobs?" And he sort of like cowered out of it. But if I was Trump, I says, "Yeah, well, like taking black jobs, it's like how is this different than the Democrats to say, oh, you making prisons more uninhabitable is punishing black people, or you having more, you know what I mean? It's like that's just the reality.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean black, yeah,
that entire line of attack, which is like a made-up thing, like black jobs. Like, what do you mean black jobs? I mean jobs held by black people. Like,
like
it's
is
not.
it?
It's
It's
not a
not.
very hard thing to grasp. It's just one of those things where they pretend to not understand
Yeah, exactly.
and
That's right.
pretend you're doing something
Right.
morally wrong.
Right. That's the surprise thing is if abortion. Granted, they didn't vote as strict as Democrat. I think they like voted in my city, Ohio, like 17%. Funny enough, black women actually voted 20% anti-abortion. Black men were like 10% anti-abortion. So the women actually were way more pro-life than the black one.
It makes sense
But
to me.
yeah, but I was sort of a little bit surprised though that blacks voted pro-abortion. But I thought they were pro-life. Many of them, maybe
No,
they.
but in their personal life, like they've probably had multiple abortions, and they realize like if like a bunch of the dudes are like, man, I'd have so many more kids
Right.
if they didn't have abortion. Like, so
Right.
they recognize that that's like a problem with them.
Yeah, I don't think they're as violently pro-life as like think of like the pro. I don't want to sound whatever like a whatever conservative, but you go to those abortion marches, they're mostly white people. I don't think there's too many. Are there many
They're not
black
going to
people?
march, but like mostly, I don't think a lot of people are going to be marching about that
White women
typically.
did. White women
Yeah,
did.
like the totally freakish ones, but like
Yeah.
it's white people love to march in
Well.
general.
Yeah.
So and for something like that, you're probably going to get mostly whites.
The blacks they were doing it for George Floyd, so they were in.
Yeah, yeah, because they were so activated. I mean, they're not really marching so much as they're like running around
Well,
destroying things.
so I don't think like abortion, but I don't think abortion is like a big issue for them. Like if you'd ask them, like
No,
it's not.
I don't
Yeah.
think so, but it's a big issue for a lot of the Democrats. So much so that they're now like talking about how they think they should run pro-life Democrats in like red states.
Right.
And there's pushback against that because
Right.
they just think it's antithetical
Right.
to the Democrats to be pro-life.
I actually think like funny enough with the black revolution, like Jesse Jackson actually used to be pro-life. Like, so yeah, I don't think it's like if a Democrat would be pro-life, they wouldn't like really care so much. It's mostly like the
The
Jewish and
black people wouldn't care. It's just like all the other. I mean, and the Jewish is like such a small voting percentage.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
they're the
like
fun.
you'd lose all the white women, you'd lose all the other liberals,
Yeah, that's what's
and
sort of
you'd
happening with.
lose a lot of the black liberals too, the black women liberals.
Yeah, that's sort of what's happening with the Israel thing. They're sort of like panicking right now. This is what I think will happen if I'm being honest. I think AI pack will sort of become more liberal in the sense they will start to push against Netanyahu and other conservative people in the Israeli government because the ADL was sort of doing that with. I think they don't like Bezalel Smotrich. They speak out against the far right members of Israel, like far right, like the rabbis of Israel or far right policies of Israel. ADL has pushed back against them. I think AIPAC will sort of do as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they full on go say like what's happening in Gaza is genocide. We need a
They
new
will never
primary.
say that. They will never use the G word, man. No, no,
Mm.
no, no,
I
no,
see
no.
many Jews doing that. I see many Jews
Yeah,
doing that. They're
you do, but there's the ones that are like anti-Zionists that aren't like
I
paid by
mean
the Israeli government to
I like
lobby. They're
I mean
never.
like
APAC will never use the G word.
like Amy Schumer or like what's her name again, the one that has a squeaky voice, like Sarah
Sarah
Silverman.
Silverman.
Yeah, no, those liberal Jews, like those Hollywood Jews I'm talking about. They're sort of like embracing the genocide thing, but blaming it on Netanyahu, not the state of
No,
Israel.
but Silverman's not saying genocide, and Schumer's not saying genocide.
I mean, let me check. Let me check. Let me see if they're actually. Let me.
Yeah, check on it. But I think that most Jews that consider themselves even slightly Zionist are very hesitant and probably would never use the G word, because that's really the whole basis of why Israel is allowed to be a thing, is because, the genocide that they went through.
Right. I mean, but they're clearly not approving of. I wouldn't say yeah. I think I said it wrong. I won't say that they say that it's genocide, but it's how do I put this? They won't approve what they're doing. Well, could you see that happening?
They want to what? I'm sorry.
They don't. They won't call it genocide, but they won't approve what.
I
What?
think that I mean, Schumer has been pretty shockingly pro what
Yes.
Israel's doing. Yeah, that's what's so funny about it, is because she's liberal. But like then all of a sudden Israel's implicated, and they're like, actually, it's good. It's good what they're doing. It's funny.
So I mean, like, right. I mean, let me
And
see.
Silverman too. Silverman's like typically very uh,
Okay.
what is it?
Okay. So let's see. What says Silverman, who was Jewish, that she was faced criticism before.
Defending Israel's right to defend itself, justifying the cutoff. See, these are like liberals for everything, but then they're like, yeah, actually, they shouldn't have any water.
Where, but
It's
then,
okay.
so she also condemned those highlights Israel actions in Gaza as a way to criticize her positioning, or herself firmly proposed without using the term
Yep,
genocide to describe
she's
an
not going to do it.
she has critiqued aspects of Jewish
And
policy, such
yeah,
as occupation of during Passover. So she has. I mean, she's not full on.
she didn't like when they deported the poor black people,
Oh yeah,
and she didn't like when there was some occupation in Passover. I don't even know. I mean that's not as severe as what's going on now. Then she defended them for cutting off the water. Well,
right. No, I
see,
think she
Amy
said she
Schumer.
messed
Look
up.
at this. Schumer's even more outspoken in her pro-Israel stance. So she's gone full like you know Israel Nazi basically, which is very funny because she's always been liberal until this happened.
Right, right, right. I think she. Well, let's see. I
They're
think
these people are not going to use the word any Jew that is somewhat Zionist is never going to say genocide.
I'm going to go expert search now because the
Yeah,
new
we're gonna have to turn it up. We're gonna have to turn up the machine on this one.
No, because I know that with Silver Silverman, I know what she's talking about. I think she what's it called, apologized for those remarks because I think she had to. People like one the world. I don't know. I mean, I think they both hate Netanyahu and show some sympathy for Palestinians, though.
I haven't seen it, and I think people are hating on them because of they're not doing that.
Right, right.
But at the end of the day, it's like it's funny to me because these people they're the same like Black Lives Matter people that are sad that we're arresting criminals, and then they're like, well, actually, let's cut off the water to the Gazans.
Yeah,
It's just that they suddenly switch when it's their people
yeah.
that are threatened.
Yeah. Let's see what exactly they say. Yeah. I mean, are you impressed with Hollywood going more left wing with Palestine now, or?
Not really. I mean, Hollywood's an extremely liberal place, and they're not all Zionists.
I mean, but saying it at the Oscars, they're not afraid to lose their jobs, though. Like, you're not surprised by this, or?
No, because they're actually gonna. It's actually it just depends on what studio they're with, like or who their agent is, like whether or not that's advantageous or not.
I mean, I guess they
That's
could
why
say like,
it's very contentious in those communities because they're heavily dominated by Jews, and a lot of them are Zionists, but a lot of them aren't, and so it's a very contentious issue.
right, yeah, sure, okay. That's what I hate about like it could take very long these searches.
Well,
Like,
yeah, because they're on expert mode. They're searching.
no,
They're
I'm
trying
sorry.
to find.
Maybe I should go to deep search next. Is it worth
It's
spending? Is it worth spending $30 on Grok? Or
no. Chat GPT is a lot better than Grok. Grok is much worse than it was before.
okay, Grok. I'll tell you one thing of Grok. They do better in searching these type of answers than ChatGPT. ChatGPT does better with like pictures and stuff like that. Wait a second. Okay.
I actually disagree with that. Even I mean I use ChatGPT a lot for work,
Well, yeah, me too. But 1 second. Okay, sir, on collaborations, blah
and
blah.
I've tried using Grok and it doesn't work as well.
Okay, she
Sign
has
anti
defended Israel's response, such as right.
resource cutoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was sad when they deported those Africans, but the resource cutoffs that's going to have to stay.
right. What? She has a movie called Kind of. What in the world is that about? Now I'm confused. What's the kind of pregnant? Like on the world? I like that. I like it. It's yeah. Let me go
Look,
to
these are two very Zionist people, and you
yeah.
may have not known that because you know they're liberal and you
Right.
assumed that they were not, but they actually that's what makes it so
Yeah.
notable is that they are so liberal until it comes to Israel, and all of a sudden they're far right
Yeah. Well,
extremists.
Chuck Schumer has became more liberal in Israel, though. Have you noticed that or not?
Well, he again, it's tough because he has to appeal to his base and to the Democratic base, and a lot of them don't like seeing the pictures of the kids that are blown up.
Yeah. I mean, how long do you think it will take for the left wing to become anti-Semitic? Do you think that'll ever happen, or
Well,
that's not?
again, we were talking anti-Semitic. I don't know what that means.
Okay, fine. Okay.
You can ask me like,
Speak
how
about
long until they start hating Israel or they start like
no.
being
Speaking about Jewish power, let's put it to you that way. Speaking about
okay?
Jewish power, and speak somewhat like Jake Shields does about Jews. Not Jake Shields.
Probably never because they consider white people to be the most oppressive group, and to call them Jews is like kind of taking them down a notch in terms of like being an oppressor. So they would just say like white power. They would just say there's too much white power, and they would include a lot of Jews in that. They would just consider them white.
Yeah, I mean, but they're sort of hurting themselves though. Like it's not really benefiting them. That's what's sort of like confusing about me is like, don't they notice that white people is affecting them? I mean, they know that, but don't don't they know that they're harming themselves
They're
by saying
starting to know that, and that's why a lot of them have freaked out lately.
Amy Schumer and Sarah
Yeah, they
Silverman?
like doing it when it's like inducing self guilt in white people. But when there's too many non-white people around, they didn't think about how those non-white people think the Jews are just white people,
Yeah, I mean,
and they hate them just as
I don't,
bad.
yeah, I don't get the whole Jew thing. Like, they really don't know how to run stuff. I mean, they run certain stuff they do well in, but like them wanting to like bring in Muslim migrants into the country, they don't realize that's like suicide for them. That's going to like many of them don't like Jews. Like some stuff they do, I just don't understand. If that
Well,
makes
it's
sense.
different groups doing it at different times, but I think even the ones that were pushing for it are now starting to see the negative side of it and
Right.
might be
Yeah.
pulling back
I
a
mean, what
bit.
do you think about the whole Catholic Church? Like they're saying that many Christian groups are doing that as well. Do
I'm
you?
pretty anti-Catholic, and I think the Catholic Church for sure is doing that as well. They're one of the probably I mean, as far as like the ground troops, like the Catholic charities are doing a ton of migrant resettlement because that helps grow the Catholic Church because all of these southern
Yeah.
migrants are Catholics.
Yeah, that's something people don't mention. Like, I mean,
I
Catholics
mention
are.
it. I
Yeah, I
mention
know.
it.
Yeah, but Catholics are not that based like people say. They're actually pretty. Also, I mean, certain stuff they're
Well, here's
based
the
on.
problem: is there's so many Protestant sects where there's people. I was saying sects that where there's like people on stage like screaming, or there's like women pastors, and there's like gay people, gay pastors and stuff, and it's like people see that and they just think this looks really bad, and they assume that all Protestants are like that or all non-Catholics, so
Well,
they
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 assume they're
cling.
Zionists as well. Like you
Yeah,
get like
but well, because many of them are, and at least Catholics aren't like super Zionist. But I think Catholics have their problems as well. But I totally get why people are flocking to that side because at least it has some traditionalism, and it's not as cucked as a lot of the Protestant denominations.
what about the Eastern Orthodox though?
Um, I think they're basically just Catholic light, but it is true that they're not, as far as I know, pushing for any of this immigration
What do you mean
in
Catholic
the same
light?
way.
Aren't they very extreme as well on many of the?
Well, just
Are
as
they
far
more
as
traditional?
their beliefs and their like their rituals and things, they're very similar to Catholics in terms of that because of the history there.
I mean,
But I
their theology is not so similar though, right? Don't they believe like the Holy Spirit goes through only the Father, while the Catholics believes that that goes through the Father and Jesus.
I
That's a
think
pretty
I think so, but
that,
I would actually say that's like a more I guess that's like in the belief system, but in terms of like their rituals and their practices and the way that the
yeah,
faith goes, I think they're quite similar.
right, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean,
but I don't think they're as like materially harmful to us here in America because there's not
right,
as many Orthodox people.
yeah. That makes sense now. I'm gonna read started because I know she supported the cutting off, but she apologized for it. But one second, let's go deeper to it. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's funny that she reflexively did it, and then people were like, "Wait, do you know what you just said?" And then she's like, "Oh, never mind."
I mean, do you believe that was a bad thing, or
Do I believe
Israel?
what was a bad thing?
Do you believe Israel has the right to like cut off power? They say like Hamas just
Dude,
released the
at the
hostages
end
as
of
a
the
way.
day, it's like, do they have the right to look? They got these people locked down on a little strip of land, and they control everything. And so
Yeah.
I do think it's pretty bad to do that. But at the end of the day, it's like Israel's trying to solve this problem. I think it's terrible what happens to the people, but I'm not going to stick my neck out there for Israel. I'm not going to stick my neck out there for the Palestinians either.
Right, right. I mean,
Uh,
I'm gonna say this now. It looks like Israel's kind of, at least Netanyahu is kind of learning, sort of like not to be. They're sort of learning not to be so. How do I put this? Like promote, like not to be so whatever when it comes to stuff. I don't know, so forceful. They're sort of like learning to, they're sort of understanding the political landscape, if that makes sense.
well, I
And
think they should just do it and then get it over with. I mean, this is dragging on for years. Like, if you want to clear them out, clear them out. Uh, just they're just bombing them for 2 years straight. They're living in hell. Like, let's find a solution and do it. But I know it's a little sensitive just because the hostages are still over there, and I know that makes it difficult for them.
right. So this is what Sarah Silver, I'm gonna go. This is like the deep stairs, has expressed more overt criticism as Israel government while condemning anti-Semitism and Hamas. In 2003, podcast. She's been about feeling heartbroken over the war, criticizing Democratic Socialists of America for perceived insensitivity to October 7th. She shared a video of hostages and began praying due to distress. She's religious. Anyways, major controversy arose from reporting an Israeli vlogger statement that Israel needs not provide Gaza with water or electricity amid hostage taking. She deleted it and apologized, calling it whatever mistake. That's what
Blaming
I'm.
hate while stoned, blaming haste while stoned. That's so funny. I was
What?
high when I retweeted that.
Didn't like Roseanne say the same thing with the whole when
Yeah,
she.
and somehow they didn't buy her excuse, although she is also Jewish.
Yeah, that's why I don't get. Is like, why didn't the Jews protect
And
her?
I would say Roseanne Barr did nothing wrong.
Right.
She was funny. Valerie Jarrett does look like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like that's one of the that's why sometimes I get confused by the whole Jewish Jew JQ thing. They say Jews are the most because like she wasn't her Jewishness didn't protect her. That's why. Do you understand what I mean? Or
I do understand what you mean, but the thing is, for her losing her show in that moment, she committed the sin of like overt. First of all, she's conservative.
Mhm.
She's conservative, and she was being racist. She was being racist against Valerie Jarrett with a racist joke, and you can't do that.
I mean,
And so
but
she
like
had to go.
Nick Cannon got his show back even though he said something anti-Semitic. So that's what confuses me. Like,
Well, he got a show back because now he's the Shabbos boy. I mean,
right,
like
but that's
he's their tool now. Like, he has the ADL people come on, like he's constant, like he's literally like they made a deal with him. They were like, "Look, we'll give you your show back, but you have to basically be our little boy." And he said, "Okay."
was Roseanne also planning to do that? She was like saying she will apologize. She was planning to do that. She just said no, we're not gonna no apologies whatsoever.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing is, I don't think they found Roseanne to be very useful for them. Like, she's a
Yeah,
conservative comedian,
yeah,
whereas Nick Cannon is like they were looking for more outreach to the black community. That's why they also have the Breakfast Club. The ADL Green Black goes on the Breakfast Club all the time. Like, that's been one of their goals lately, is to have more advocates in the black community
yeah. I
because
mean,
they see a lot of anti-Semitism brewing there, like from the Black Hebrew Israelites and
no,
others.
they're very anti. If you ever been around black people, they any Jew that you speak to would tell you that blacks that the most experience they've probably seen of anti-Semitism. It usually comes from the black community. It's actually they're usually the ones that will. Anyways, yeah. Her
That's interesting.
Yeah, her historical post shows advocacy for a two-state solution that positions the West Bank annexation, and distinction between Jews and Israeli government. For instance, she questioned Israel's relation purposes. Why are military targets more important than human life? Just the more murder, more hate, whatever. She argued that Israelis to vote out Netanyahu and support equality in Israel and Palestine, Yavne, whatever. Okay, just
I'm
to
more
sure.
concerned about the stuff post October 7th.
Yeah,
Because
just
that's when it really that's when the chips are down.
yeah. She reflect on scaling back opinion due to backlash, fears, feeling stunned by liberal alienation of Jews, uncertain whatever. She does not. She has no deep ties to Israel. Have visited twice, and influenced by books Jews on count. Counter arguments for Israel critics accuse her of downplaying threats from Hamas. Okay, while pro-Palestinian voices see her apology as insufficient, fearing original posts endorsed in collective punishment. Some defend her as evolving through reflection. Okay, so basically, yeah, basically through her,
She supported Israel with their stuff, and then one time she retweeted something saying we should cut off the resources,
and
and
now
that
she
was,
begin
and then she
now
was like,
now
"Oh, I went too far."
Yeah, now she's. I think, but now she's became more pro-Palestine. Now that's
I
basically
haven't
what.
seen any pro-Palestine statements from her. I mean, look at all those ones they're talking about. It's like pre. Let's see, scaling.
In 2005.
Stunned. She's stunned by liberal alienation of Jews and uncertain as a comedian.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
since October 7th, she's been pro-Israel all along, and the only thing she apologized for was when she said we should cut off the resources.
right.
Schumer is even crazier
Let's see what Schumer says. Yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, she did apologize for that statement, so I mean that's something,
for
no?
that statement, but it's not like she's
Yeah.
saying anything pro-Palestine. Like, but at the end of the day, it's just I don't care that much. Like, it makes sense to me that they would defend Israel, but these are liberals. These
Mhm.
are like hardcore liberals in
She
America.
she described feeling heartbroken and politically homeless amid the level of Hamas war.
This is Silverman.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, fine. For heaven's sakes, where's Amy Schumer? Oh, Amy Schumer. Yeah, it's a lot less. Amy Schumer has been a vocal support for the Jewish people and Israel right to exist, especially whatever
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Standard blah blah
Open
blah.
letter.
But she has distanced herself from Netanyahu's policy, saying she disagrees with his action and finds the Gaza's conditions appalling. Okay,
Yeah.
interviews she emphasized that speaking up for the Jews should not be seen as ignoring the Palestinian plight. She recommended resources like whatever for context. However, posts like deleted scrutinizing pro-Palestinian support have drawn. Okay, fine. So yeah, I mean, kind of losers, Mike. Like, why don't you just double down at the end of the day? Like, just double down if you're like say that that would give me more respect with them if they.
They over here they've cultivated a very liberal audience because in America it behooves them to be very liberal.
Mhm.
And so then when it comes to Israel, they're like as far right wing as Nick Fuentes in Israel. And then that's their followers are like, hold on a second, what's going on here? Because they
Yeah,
don't get it.
right. I mean, sort of like it couldn't happen to better people. This situation. If
Yeah, I'm loving it. I think it's
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah,
I think
couldn't
it's funny.
happen to better. Yeah, couldn't happen to better people. That's like Jimmy Kimmel. Like at the end of the day, I'm out of principle. I'm not happy with it. It was horrible, like a dumb move. But it's like it couldn't happen to a better person. Like,
Yeah, I just hope someone can sue him for 1.4 billion like they did Alex Jones.
well, that's the thing. I'm confused. Is if what the FCCC did so bad, why doesn't he just sue them? He could probably make a
I
lot of
hope he
money off them.
does, and I hope he gets sued by Charlie Kirk's estate.
Right. I mean, because if he like gets if he sues, he could probably make money because the courts, you know how they are. Like they like are very bad. The courts.
Yeah, I would exactly. So that's a big problem. But if I
Because
were, I hope that Charlie Kirk's estate does many different lawsuits
right.
for on
But
people.
yeah, but if I'm Jimmy Kimmel, if I'm him, I might actually just sue the government because I could just make $1 billion. Like everybody's behind him, just get a good lawyer, and he could like be set
Well,
up for
but
life.
the government didn't do anything untoward. I don't think. I mean,
Okay, so what's the big problem then? Why
the
is
big
everybody?
problem is like I don't know. I think honestly part of it was like leftist FOMO because they see the right getting super united and like organizing, and then it was so crazy. You see Jimmy Kimmel get his show paused, and then like all the Hollywood people are making selfie videos like we have to stand with Jimmy.
By the way, I
What
think
they
he's coming
did.
back. I think he's gonna come back. I
Yeah, I
think
think he
it's
will too. So it's all a big show, but they got to show solidarity and like act like this is it, like fascism is here, and do their little LARP, and so they're just enjoying themselves a little
yeah.
bit.
I think they're gonna cave to the pressure because right now, like before, they lost sponsors. They were losing sponsors. Now I don't think this solved anything. So I think they're like in a very tough position right now. It's can happen to a better organization either, really. But yeah,
No,
so
I wish them
yeah.
nothing
I
but
mean,
the worst.
didn't he used to be based Disney? I heard he used to hate Jewish.
Did
I
who?
mean,
Sorry,
Disney. He used to be like a base person. He used to like hate Jews and stuff like that. Or
Destiny? You're saying who are you
no,
saying?
Disney.
Disney? Oh, Walt Disney.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think he was like, but you got to understand, like in that era, like most people were a little anti,
I
like
don't
they were
think it
kind of
was very anti. Yeah,
skeptical of Jews, and like
yeah.
he was like skeptical of foreigners, like, but that
Yeah.
was pretty normal back then.
Yeah. I think it's just like part of like the whole yeah. I
But
think I
they were
don't
just people like knew stereotypes. Like he would just like, I
right,
mean,
but it wasn't.
if you look at the old like videos of, for instance, the Three Little Pigs, the old cartoon,
Yeah,
and the wolf dresses up like a Jewish guy.
I actually found that funny. That was very funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. I mean, that's just people were less sensitive about stuff like that.
I think it
I
was
don't
an
think it
inside
meant he's
job
like a
also.
hater.
I think it was also an inside job because he was maybe trying to make it out dress up as a Jew to say that he won't harm them because they don't eat pig. I think that was another. Yeah.
It was whenever he was dressing up, like the wolf was dressed up as a salesman, and he was
Yeah.
like obviously had like a giant nose and the glasses and the hat. Like I mean,
Giving out
what?
free samples. Like,
Yeah, something like that.
it's like, no, and I remember the whole thing was
Oh, okay,
very.
okay.
I watched it many times. It was a very. It was a very. I missed though. No, but like, yeah. I mean, like, he wasn't pro-Nazi either. I think like also Henry Ford, was he really that anti-Semitic? Did he just like
Yeah,
make
Henry
one?
Ford anti-Semitic for sure.
He just made one book though. Did he really say anything? Did
Yeah,
he really,
he was he was very anti. Henry Ford was, yeah, for sure.
he support Hitler literally, or
I think he did. Yeah, I think he
yeah,
did. And
yeah,
yeah, but I mean, in those days, I don't think people really knew how crazy that was at the time. You know, like the all the reports of the atrocities didn't really percolate the American psyche until years after the fact, after Henry Ford was already dead.
no, I think it like was it when when they came, people started to believe them because they like that's why my history teacher says like they originally thought was fake until they saw the people coming and tell the stories and they were like, yeah, it's probably real. If that makes sense,
Yeah, they didn't believe it until they got told that it happened.
right? Yeah,
Because no one, yeah, like the big problem. I think the people were sold it because Hitler was such an expansionist, a military expansionist,
right,
and they knew that he was like,
right.
being a little harsh on some of the domestic population. But I don't think the Holocaust was not like a big thing in American education until
Yeah.
long after.
Yeah, and one thing I don't get is why do many Jewish people like Stalin as well? Because I did a little research on Stalin. He wasn't so pro-Jew
No,
either.
but a lot of the initial revolutionaries were Jewish, like Karl Marx and
Marx
Trotsky, and
also, I think he made a JQ book actually. Funny enough,
maybe he was, and maybe he did. But I mean, a lot of the Bolsheviks were Jewish, and Karl
right,
Marx was Jewish, and Lenin was
right,
Jewish, and
right,
what's the other
right.
guy? Trotsky.
I mean, but couldn't you say that about like Christianity too? Like you wouldn't say it's a Jewish thing, but like Jesus, Mary, Joseph,
Well, I
Peter,
think that's a
Paul.
kind of a different deal because, like, rabbinical Judaism had already branched off from
Right,
whatever those early Jews became Christians. But like after that point, they were like rabbinical Jews that were the people that killed Jesus and the people that Jesus was preaching against, and the
right, but
continuation of that tradition.
wasn't like Paul like originally a rabbinical Jew?
Yes, he was, and he converted on the
Right,
road to
exactly. Like
Damascus.
yeah, exactly. And Peter also, I think, wasn't he somewhat? I
I
mean,
think I think a lot of people were probably straddling the lines in those days, but
I
that
mean, wasn't he also in the beginning? Wasn't he also? I think he like went to like Jewish schools and stuff like that.
I'm
I
sure he
think.
did. I mean, but then people chose either Christianity or Jewish, and then the people after that point that were considered Jewish is because they stayed Jewish for a very long
I
time,
don't
like
think many
rabbinical
Jews.
Judaism.
I don't think many Jews actually became Christian. I think many of
No,
them just.
many of them. Yeah, a lot of them.
I think they. Let's see. I know Grok is another. How many?
Do how many of the ancient or how many of the Jews in Jesus' time became Christians?
I think they had like some that were like became Christian. I think they had some that followed Jesus, but they were
But
like
then it
considered heretical.
became yeah. I mean, that's why they ended up going to the Gentiles in the first place. At first, they kept it all in house.
No, no, there were some though. There were some Jews. They called them Jewish, but Nazarenes, but they were like killed by, I mean, whatever, by Christians because they weren't Trinitarians. They were basically like followers of Jesus, but they were like Unitarians basically. Um, yeah, 1 second. Yeah. No, but at the end, Stalin like did like a whole purge on Jews and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
no. I
that.
mean, then it became a very bad thing for them, like a lot of these revolutionary governments
Yeah,
end up being.
yeah, yeah. Stalin is for sure not like it.
Yeah, see the term Christian comes later, like once it becomes a thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you got to think like I guess Jesus followers. I think quite a few of them were following Jesus. Obviously, not enough of them, and I think a lot of them turned on him when he got arrested.
Yeah, let's. No, because like what's his name? Like yeah, I know, no, because like people like to bring up Stalin. Like I see Nick Fuentes or Jackson Hinkle really he wasn't so good either. Stalin. He was also a pretty big dictator. He's not like any better. But okay, okay, okay. So
I guess this sort of confuses the point, though, because I mean, it's like how many people were followers of him, or like because the term Christian didn't come in later. But then obviously it spread among the Gentiles faster than it did among the Jews after that,
Right?
because
I
there's
mean,
also
like,
just a lot more Gentiles.
well, like you bring up rabbinic Judaism, but like, I don't think most. If you're not an Orthodox Jew, you're pretty much not rabbinic Jewish because, like, the Talmud speaks about the afterlife. Like, if you want to go to heaven and like make it for the Messiah, basically, you're excluded from it if you don't believe in the afterlife. It actually says that in their Talmud. So, I mean, they don't believe in heaven and stuff like that.
Sure, but
So,
I'm just saying they've descended from that tradition. I
right,
mean, a lot
exactly.
of the Jews of today are not religious; they're secular, but they descended through the people
Right.
that were doing rabbinic Judaism.
Right, right. I mean, but I don't really. I don't know if, like, like according to rabbinic Jews, many of them don't even get a share in the world to come because they
They
don't believe.
probably they yes, and they probably won't, but they were just like in that culture, and they're of that ethnicity now.
All right, okay, fine. So Christianity was largely Gentile, Jews, Ebionites, Nazarene,
Yeah,
becoming
by the year
known.
100, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. The low Jewish conversion rate underscores empathy for both sides. Jews preserved tradition, fine. So it was very low, I think. I mean, like, even the Ebionites and Nazarenes, they weren't Trinitarians. They were Unitarians at most. I think they I think they say, okay. So the Roman were their vast were 4.7 million total, with 2.5 fine, blah blah blah. Some so fine. Sim used 6 million, making 1,000. Okay, so that's like basically nothing that converted. So most of the Jews from Jesus' time are basically Jewish now. So I mean, like, not too many I think converted. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's true, but I also don't know like of those how many of those are like the Jews that we call Jews today versus like how many of them stayed there and just basically became like Arabs. I just don't know because like the Jews we see today are like the Ashkenazi Jews mostly over here,
Well, they
and
have a lot
they're
of Sephardi Jews as well. I see many Sephardi in I think in Israel they have a ton of them. Like they're half the population, no?
yeah in Israel, but not here, not in America, not in the West, and I don't think
But
in the
you really
world
believe
either.
in the Kazakhstan theory? It's a dumb. I mean, like,
No,
it's a
I
rabbinic. You
don't
know where
care.
it comes
I just
from,
I don't care about it. Like people talk about that stuff, I just don't look into it.
but you
It's
know
not.
where it comes from. Actually, it's like a Jewish story. It's not even a. It's not even.
Yeah, I know people get all into that. To me, it's unimportant.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, I think we talked for enough time. Two
Yeah,
hours.
man,
Thanks for.
I appreciate the invite, man. It was fun
Yeah,
chatting, and this is the first one of these things that I've done, so I just thought I'd give it a
yeah,
shot. So I appreciated it.
yeah. Hopefully this could get. I don't think this got so many views. Hopefully I'll just try to put a thumbnail and tag. But yeah, it was a good speaking to you, and have a good night. Let me
All
just
right, man.
end the
Take care,
stream
brother.
now.
See ya.